That is the key to pronouns and substitutes and determinants. And it's the key to everything in English, as it is in every subject that we learn. The question, why? Why do we use these things? And I think if students understand the meaning, why am I doing this? The second part, which is learning the rules, is just learning. Everybody has to do it in such a way. The point of pronouns and substitutes and determinants are to avoid repetition, to give variety to your language. But the way to teach them is to do what many would say. Why do we use them? To avoid repeating the same noun, to give our language variety. Great. So what I have to do is substitute a noun. That's it. I substitute a noun. How do I do that? And that's when you learn the rules. But it's a different way of learning. It's getting them to understand why you do it before they learn how. Okay, so perhaps a couple more minutes. And I know a lot of people come in at about 10 past.
That's the letter F or
Yeah, okay. You're absolutely right. I have a reputation for horrible Fs. This is how we were taught to write Fs in English in school. Can you believe that? And I'm not a very neat writer, so they just look like a mess. But yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thank you for your patience and working it out. The thing is, saying, going back to it, it's almost like, it's very progressive. So one of the things that you'll find is that they learn some substitutes at basic pronoun. Substitutes at beginner, sorry. Some substitutes at pre-intermediate. That's when they start using things like one. Other substitutes when you get to B1 and B2, where you start using things like which, do, that. They're reflexive clauses, but again, they can substitute. So it's like anything really. It's like engineering. Obviously, in year 4, you're doing much more complex things. But year 1, year 2, and year 3 are your platforms. And it's exactly the same with English. If they understand why they're using pronouns in elementary, they'll understand why they're using pronouns in advanced. It's just a different pronoun. So, there we go. Can they hear me now? Hello? How are you?
Pretty fine.
Hey, sir.
Nice to see you again.
Okay, we're just waiting for a couple more minutes.
Sure, no problem.
It's much better without the microphone. Sin la micro es mejor. Sí, mucho mejor. Okay. Okay, so let's start so people can join in as they arrive. So, end of the week then. So, end of the week, and what I would do with a group at the end of the week is what I'm going to... No, Monday to Thursday, this week, Monday to Thursday next week. The final week, I'm waiting to hear from Monson whether it's Tuesday to Friday or Monday to Thursday. So if anybody hears before me, let me know. Yeah. But my understanding is next week is definitely Monday to Thursday. What happens in the final week, I don't know. Monday to Thursday, Tuesday to Friday. As soon as anybody finds out, let's share the information.
Will it give us a certificate?
I believe there are certificates being prepared by the university because they rang me about 2 weeks ago to say what do they have to do, etc., etc. So I believe, yeah. Okay. So it's near to the end of the week. So what I would normally do at this stage is do a warm-up. Okay, that's fun. Okay, because remember they've been with you Monday to Thursday. Okay, in most classes. So it's the end of the week, and again it's about judging how your students are feeling, where they are. So that sort of thinking is particularly useful at the exam stages or when they're under a lot of pressure. So what I would be saying is, all right, it's the end of the week, let's do a warm-up, but let's do a warm-up, okay, that's a little bit more gentle, that's a little bit more fun, and it's the sort of warm-up we should do at the end of the week when we're slowing down a little bit, okay? And this particular warm-up, okay, apart from giving us what we refer to in English, colloquial English, as a buzz, okay? Anybody know what this word means in colloquial English? They are Zs. Zs. Okay. Okay. Okay, what's its meaning in English colloquially? And it's a very, very common word in English at the moment in the street. Okay, buzz is energy. Okay, so if let's say you walked into a room and you had 2 or 3 teachers, 2 or 3 students that were really excited, you may say to your colleague, look at them, they're really buzzing. Right? They've got a lot of energy, so that buzz. And I think the connection is, sometimes you can hear electricity, can't you? Okay, when perhaps it's not wired properly. It's that.
Is that British or
I think I don't know, Jose, you could possibly help me. I do know Americans, for instance, I had a director of studies years ago that used this all the time. I don't think it's... Yeah, so perhaps there's a little bit of difference in meaning in the way the Americans use it, but not much. It's the same sort of thing. You're excited, you've got enthusiasm, you're ready to go. Okay, so this warm-up, although it's gentle, it will give us a buzz. One of the phenomenon that this is associated with is the whole ecstasy thing in the 80s and 90s. Because if you talk to young people taking ecstasy in Europe and North America, that word will be used. I'm buzzing. Okay, so this is an activity that gives us a little bit of a buzz. But in keeping with all the other warm-ups you should do, you should try and link it to something that's happened in your class that week. So again, end of the week, a warm-up that's a bit gentle, a bit nicer, okay, but a warm-up that gives us energy. That's what warm-up should do. And a warm-up that helps us achieve our objectives. So, end of the week, I normally use a warm-up that does all that and allows them to review something that's happened this week. So, remember, okay, warm-up, end of the week, gentle, slow down, consolidate learning and give energy. So, what we're going to do is, what I want you to do is take an A4 piece of paper out of your bag, a blank A4 piece of paper. Everybody got a blank A4 piece of paper? If you don't have an A4 piece of paper, ask somebody for one. You need an A4 piece of paper, a blank A4 piece of paper. Yeah, absolutely. Just a blank piece of paper. That's all you need. Okay. Now, everybody got a blank piece of paper? Got one? Oh, they're going. Let's wait for a minute. While we're waiting, can I cover something that I missed yesterday? Remember, we were talking about the importance of teaching street English as well as classic English. And Saeed quite rightly said, okay, that you have to be careful. And I think you're absolutely right. So, for example, this is a street English word, yeah? Okay, it's not a classic English word. So you would have to be very careful when you teach street English to say to them that what you are doing is street English and they can't use that in exams. The reason why I've mentioned this is be very, very careful with that, because let me ask you a question. In this room, okay, who has said to a student, if you want to practice your listening skills, listen to some English music, a drama, or a film, or TV? Who has said that? All of us. Well, be really, really careful, because guess what? When you listen to songs, TVs, films, and dramas, is it classic English or is it street English? So that idea about being really careful, Nick, which you said, Saeed, absolutely correctly, well then we need to be really careful in all our practice. And when you give them films and TVs and things like that to look at, they will learn street English. So manage it really, really carefully.
And they will learn about form and word.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you know yourself, all right, when you're young, you're quite intrigued by four-letter words. What?
Yeah, the students will learn big words.
Absolutely, absolutely. You need to manage it. It is. See, this is my point yesterday. I do understand where you're coming from, but it is inevitable. Even if you don't teach it, as Eduardo says, they will learn street English. So if you know that's going to happen, it's like anything. Manage it. Yeah. Okay, excellent. No, you're welcome, Saeed. Thank you, because it made me think last night about making sure we cover that point. So thank you very much. Does everybody understand what we've just been talking about? Yeah? Okay, when you direct them to listening and reading, be careful of the quality of English. Right, okay. Does everybody know how to make a paper plane? Okay, so with your paper, make a paper plane. Alright, and for the people who can't make a paper plane, help them. Alright, so paper plane, peeps.
This is a military.
Can you
What
make
type?
a paper plane?
Supersonic?
Jimmy or Juan or somebody could, what's your name? Can somebody help Carolina to make the paper plane? Yeah? Okay.
Okay, this is.
Alright, and if good morning, a piece of paper and make a paper plane. And if you can't make one, he will help you, yeah? So if it help Joanne and Carolina if they need it, making a paper plane, my friend. No, we're not. Ooh, impressive. All right, that's a paper jet.
Yeah, this is.
Come on, make it paper planes.
We have a force here in the wind.
Do you need some paper? Joe, do you need some paper?
See that? This is
Use the back of that one. Yeah. Okay. An aeroplane. Do you know how or not? Jacob, do me a favour and help her if she needs.
This type of plane has the motors, engines.
Alright, okay, impressive.
All the way down.
How you doing? Got one? Is that a paper plane? Yeah, that's a plane, isn't it? Well done, well done. But you know what it is? Do you know, 2 years ago, so that's not 2 years ago, about 18 months ago, America opened a flight, it's the first direct flight to South America. Because prior to that, the only way was British direct, British Airways. That wasn't it, it was by Brazil. So you leave Bogota, and it absolutely rockets across the ocean. It's the only flight that goes across the ocean now. 10.5 hours. At Christmas time, we loaded this, and we did London in 9.25 hours. You could feel it going really fast. Did you do that as well, Bogota, London?
No, but I saw that. It was really
Yeah, you really feel as if you're going like a rocket. Yeah, it's fantastic for me. Because I just go to Bogota, go to London, and my nephew's there to meet me. Yeah, wonderful. Right, everybody got a paper plane then? Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to write down, okay, in the paper plane, but don't let your friends see it. Okay, so write on the paper plane, but don't let people see it. So do it in privately. And what you have to do is you have to write down an item of clothing that you wore this week. Not today, Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday. An item of clothing. And you need to use 2 adjectives. One to do with style, long, short, and one to do with colour, blue or green. So, one of mine would be a long, blue pair of trousers. If Jo was doing this tomorrow, she could say a short-sleeved red jacket. Ali could say a blue long-sleeved check shirt. Saeed could say a brown and white t-shirt. So it's the item of clothing and 2 adjectives, and it's something that you wore this week. Don't let your partners see it. You write it in the middle of the plane. Open your plane and write it in the middle. Yeah? Ali. Jennifer, could you quickly tell Jose what we're doing? Okay, so write in the middle of the plane, okay, an item of clothing with 2 adjectives. One is about style, collars, cuffs, and one is about colour. Everybody clear what we're doing? Jose is making his paper plane. Go on, Jose.
In the middle of the plane.
A paper jet. In the middle of the plane, yeah. Do not let your partners see what you're writing. Has to be in secret. There has to be an item of clothing that you wore on Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday. Good morning, how are you? Good? Good. An item of clothing you wore yesterday. Or Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. Have we finished? Okay, so, one, finished? Okay. Just one item of clothing. Okay, so blue short sleeve shirt, long brown skirt. One item of clothing you wore this week. You had to wear it Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Yeah. How are we doing, one?
It doesn't matter if we use that because we said the color for it.
Yeah, now that's a really good question. A really, really good question. Because, okay, yes, it does make a difference. But Nick is trying to remember the rules. Right. Certainly with hair, it goes length, style, colour. So, short, cropped, brown hair. Long, brown, straight hair. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure, but there is an order. There you go, right. Yeah, I mean, help me, because I'm not Superman. I mean, you're teachers as well. You know, I don't know all the rules, but here we go. So, colour's the last one. What's the first one?
Red, short hair. No, I'm short red hair.
So then, so you go style, colour,
Short curly hair.
short curly hair. What if it was short red curly hair, or will it be short curly red hair? Remember? I can't, there is an order. There you go, look. All right, we're all trying to do it. One of the things you need to do right at the weekend is look. I'll do it as well.
If you,
All right.
if you mentioned the drill, like it's made up, you should be at the beginning.
That there is a real an order that you should do it in. Okay, here we go then. Right, here's one for us. Eduardo, all right, you ask the question. All right, okay, let's remind it ourselves.
I have the
Here we go.
Google answer.
Here we go.
Quantity or number, quality or opinion, size, age, shape, color, proper adjective, purpose, or qualifying.
There you go.
Down to the order.
Right, now look. It is good to use Google, all right, but what I want us to do is check it out with a site that's more reliable. Eduardo,
Yeah.
over the weekend, go onto a website and find out the order that we use them in. But use an English website, like One Stop English, or
Cambridge.
Busy English, or Cambridge, yeah? And somebody remember on Monday to ask, yeah? Okay, really good point, really, really good point. Okay, everybody got them? Right, I'm still trying to work out what it is. Right, everybody got them? Yeah? Okay, so what we need to do is stand up now and take a space anywhere in this auditorium, anywhere, but make sure there's a little bit of space between you and the next person. I can't remember what it is. I can't remember what it is. He's not absolutely sure he's got the right one, but I can't remember the other two bits of it. Oh well. Okay, right. So now what we need to do is close our eyes. Close our eyes. Close our eyes. Okay, right. Now when I say and not before, what we're going to do is we're going to throw these. Close your eyes. We're going to throw these, and then when we open our eyes, we pick up the one that is nearest to us. eyes as you throw it as hard as you can, and then you open your eyes and pick the nearest one. So eyes closed and throw. Throw. Come on. Right. You keep your eyes closed. Don't move. All right. Okay. Now you can open your eyes and pick the nearest one. Well done, Joanne. Pick the nearest one. Pick one. One just there. There should be some spare ones. Don't show it to your colleagues, just open it. Everybody should have one.
No todo el mundo dice.
Everybody should have one. Everybody got one? Yeah? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try and guess who the person it is. Now remember, this is a nice gentle warm-up at the end of the week, and normally we would do this much quicker. It's taking longer because I'm explaining it, but it's a really nice warm-up. So what you then say to them is, right, what we're going to do is we're going to open these and try and guess who the person is, all right? Now this part you have to do quite quickly because if you're in a big group it takes a long time. Okay, but the key to this is what skill does it test that a teacher needs? What skill does it take? Because yes, I'm doing this as a warm-up, but I'm doing it as like a teacher, and I'm trying to link it to the work we're doing, which is to be an effective teacher. So what skill does this test?
Because we have to try to guess.
You have to try and remember who wore these clothes. Absolutely. What it's testing is your ability to observe. I'm not suggesting that you have to remember everything that your students are wearing. However, what it suggests to us is the more that we can observe, the more effective we'll be. So, for example, if I'm sitting here and yesterday I can see Julia is struggling and she's ill, I need to think about what I need to do as far as she's concerned. We've got Carolina from Cardinalis at the end at the back. Not too many people, but she knows what I need to do this lesson is bring her a bit forward. So that's why observation is massively important, because it makes your job easier. Because if I don't respond to her, and I don't respond to Julia, I'll lose them. Okay, so let's guess then. All right, Carolina, who do you have on your piece of paper? What does it say? If you read out, what does it say? Because now we have to guess who these people are. Blue? Blue jeans. Okay, so who has worn blue jeans this week? And whoever's written that, there should be 2 adjectives, not 1. Blue jeans. Anybody like to guess? They have worn blue jeans. I'll take a guess on Javier. Was that you? Blue jeans? No? Okay. Anybody else? Who do you think? Any guesses as to who this could be? No? You think? Carlos? Carlos? Blue jeans?
No, I didn't write it.
Who wrote blue jeans? There you go, Jose. Okay, well done, Jose. Excellent. Jose, you read yours.
Thursday, I wore blue and white blouse. Blue and white blouse.
Blue and white blouse on Tuesday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. Maybe it meant Tuesday. Maybe Tuesday.
Blue and white blouse then. Who wore a blue and white blouse on Tuesday? Carolina. Correct? Was it Tuesday? Or today? Okay, you have to think about a day not today, because obviously they can see that, all right? So it has to be on another day. Okay, Joe? See? Yeah.
Light and black, comfortable.
Light,
Light, black, comfortable.
light, black, comfortable jeans. Oh,
Black.
Like that. Not today, other days. Who could it be? Alejandro?
Alejandro?
Wait.
Ah,
Okay.
Alejandro.
Yeah,
Black.
we do. Okay. All right. There you go. Now,
It doesn't say anything.
can I just say something to you? Okay. All right. This is about learning. All right. This is about learning. Okay. And we can all learn. And I thank the world in general that we have an opportunity to learn every day. And I can learn as well. What have I done wrong in this activity? Given what happened with Carolina and given what happened with Alejandro, what's the mistake that I've made as a teacher? No. When you, normally I do it, and I made a mistake this morning, okay, normally when you do an activity, the last thing you should do is confirm that they understand. So if I'd have confirmed that Carolina and Alejandro understand, they would have said, so I write what I'm wearing today. And I would say, no, you write what you're wearing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, some teachers would say, it's Carolina and Alejandro's fault because they don't understand. Absolutely rubbish. It's my fault because I didn't confirm what we need to do. So always confirm your tasks at the end. And let's keep going. Fine, that's my mistake. Right, okay, you've not got anything on your... See, again, look. Obviously, I didn't confirm the task because we've got somebody sending an error. Oh, we have, look. Long striped socks, blue, brown. Long striped socks, blue, brown. Who wrote this? Long, do you mean like here? No. This is what we mean, long here. Right. Okay. So, who wore long striped socks? Socks that were here.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow. This is today as well.
This plate.
Yeah, see, it's my fault. I should have said what you wore Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
No, but those are striped. These ones are
Okay, great. Okay, well done. Thank you very much. I don't feel so bad now. Well done. Okay, your one?
It has a lot. It says black casual shoes,
Yeah.
black brown casual sock, not like him. Square shirt, not like him. Black casual belt, not like him.
Is it you?
Yeah, I wear the same everything.
You wear the same every day, right? So I read yours.
You said just one item.
What I did say, yeah, absolutely, one item and two adjectives. But it's my fault, because what I should have said was, Saeed, what are we doing? And then the people who had got it wrong would go, so it's my fault, not anybody else's. Don't worry. Okay, let's keep going.
Well, this person didn't mention today, when she, I think it's a girl, yes, it says that she normally wears red jacket and a blouse. So I think that Carolina is already done, so I think it's Joanne.
It is, well done. Joanne, do you want to read yours? Excellent. This will teach me to confirm my task, won't it? Go on. Go on, read it out.
I read.
You've read that one, okay? Jake, who have you got?
Mine says short black shirt. Looks like a short black shirt.
Short black shirt. So who's worn a short black shirt this week or including today? Short black black shirt.
Oh, shit.
Correct? Yeah, it should be short sleeves. These are sleeves. Short sleeves. So who's that then? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Wow, well done. Okay, so you before on Monday or Tuesday you wore a short black shirt. Monday. See, there's a man who understood my tasks. Perhaps I should have asked him to confirm. Well done, my friend. Excellent. There. Who have you got on your envelope, on your paper plate?
Teacher blue and short.
Teacher blue.
T-shirt.
Blue t-shirt. Blue t-shirt.
Shirt.
Who was that? Who wore a blue t-shirt this week?
Me.
Well done. Thank you very much, Juan. Excellent. Just to show you about observation, doesn't it? We're going to do a listening exercise later on in the week, next week, that makes the same point. We only, okay, can pick up information when we consciously look for it. So it's, when doing this sort of work, you need to be very conscious. So I'm not suggesting that you look at every item in students' clothes that they're wearing. It's that you can pick up on that information. One.
Red cowboy hat.
A red
Cowboy hat. Cowboy. Cowboy.
A red cowboy.
Red cowboy hat.
A red cowboy hat. Who wore a red cowboy hat this week?
Yeah. Cowboy.
I didn't bring it to the class though.
You brought a red cowboy.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I wore one. I definitely
All right. Well, you need to.
Some people saw me.
Yeah.
Someone-
Right. So some people saw you with it.
Yeah.
Well done. Did anybody guess this? No. Very, very good. Well done. Okay, Jimmy.
Cowboy.
Long sleeve shirt, pink.
Wow. Long sleeve pink shirt. Who wore a long sleeve pink shirt?
I thought it was Yolanda, but
Right.
she said it was over there, so I cheated.
Yeah.
I looked at this paper, it says Javier.
So is it you? Yeah. Well, there you go. All right. Some people would say that Jimmy actually did that by cheating, but I would say that Jimmy did that by being resourceful. He opened the page and looked at the name. Excellent. Any more? Any more? Any more? Any more?
Brown leather belt.
Brown leather belt. Who's worn a brown leather belt?
Oh, again, G.
Jimmy. Well done, Jimmy. Excellent. Good stuff. Saeed?
Long sleeve white shirt.
A long sleeved white shirt. Long sleeved white shirt. Who is it? Who wrote that? Ah, you wrote it. Well done. Yes, you did, didn't you, on Monday? Or Tuesday? No, this
No,
week.
on Monday, on Monday.
On Monday you wore the white
You
shirt.
wore the
Yeah, yeah,
black
yeah.
shirt.
Okay. Any more?
Black shirt.
Black shirt. No?
No.
Who wore a black shirt this
Black
week?
shirt. Black.
So, who? Who? Andres. Ah, very good. Excellent. Now, keeping your faces this way, keeping your faces this way, don't change the, whoop. Keep your head this way. What colour shirt has Ange got on today?
Oh, purple.
Well done, well done. What colour shirt has she got on today? And these one went purple. Okay. It's not important, okay, the results of it. It's stressing two things. A language point if you were teaching students, the use of adjectives, and of course, look at what we arrived at. We need to review the order that we put adjectives in, so that's a learning point. And the second learning point is, yes, okay, perhaps remembering the colour of the clothes of your students isn't that phenomenally important, but it is very, very important to observe because it will help you with your classes. Any questions? No? Nice easy warm-up though, wasn't it? We didn't have to move, very gentle. So, let's return to where we were working yesterday. What you need to do is get your 10 tips that you had yesterday. You need them in front of you. Your 10 tips, okay, for maintaining motivation. Yeah? Remember? We wrote 10 things down about how we could maintain motivation at the end of the class. Everybody got them? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little work in pairs. So a different way of putting people in pairs. And, you know, I tend to let students choose for themselves, but if you do want to be a bit more directive, all you could simply do is this. Remember this, Eduardo? Everton, Liverpool. Everton, Liverpool. Everton, Liverpool. Everton, Liverpool. Everton, Liverpool. Everton, Liverpool. Are you playing? Yeah. Everton, Liverpool. All right. So all the Evertons here, all the Liverpools there. Everton. Because they are the best team in the world.
Where has the Manchester?
What, sorry?
Barcelona, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought you were scouted for a while.
Sorry?
I thought you were scouted for a while.
You feel?
You were a scouter.
The reason, well, the reason, the link is, well done you, the link is my father was born in Ainsdale, which is about 8 miles north of Liverpool on the coast.
Fair enough.
But we were all brought up in London, so he was a scout, yeah. Okay, so Everton's, yeah, and Liverpool's. Come on. Are you Everton or Liverpool? Liverpool, right, okay. Liverpool's here, Everton's there. Jimmy, where are you, Everton or Liverpool? Right, okay, and you're Everton, yeah? Yeah, you're all Everton. Yeah, okay. Carolina, come here. Now, in your group, okay, in your group, what I want you to do is find a partner. So, find a partner for a pair. In fact, actually, 2, 4. Jose, that one, because they're on, sorry, yeah, it's the numbers. 4, 7, hold on a minute. Here you go. Yeah, that's it. Right, okay, now, with your pair, what you have to do, okay, is you have to look at the 10 things that you wrote down that you think will help students maintain motivation, and compare them with the 10 on here. As I said to you yesterday, I use material from lots of different courses, okay? One of which is called the Teacher's Knowledge Test. I know I mentioned it yesterday, okay? But in the suite of exams that Cambridge have, they have exams for teachers as well. So, for instance, the first certificate in English is the qualification that the Ecuadorian government prefers their teachers to have. It's not the only one, but it's the preferred, because it's at a B2 level, and that's what you need to teach in a public institution. However, the exams go on. So, for example, one of the most difficult is something called a TKT. It's called Teacher's Knowledge Test, and it's the one that teachers take when they want to become a superb teacher, or they want to become a head of department. I have no doubt, okay, that you can manage this sort of material. I do want to take 1 minute to say something to you, okay? This, for me, is a massive objective. I joined the university on an invitation to do training and development with existing teachers. That was the offer that I got. A lot of people know that for many, many reasons I've not been able to do it. So to be able to actually do this is a personal goal achieved. Because we were talking about this last night, and at the moment I've got 6, 7, 9, 12, 14 teachers. We worked out last night it is a minimum through you, okay, I've made a difference to 1,000 students every year in Uleam. So this, for me, is fantastic. I need to give you a really, really, really big thanks. A genuine big thanks. Most of you in this room will know that I'm a very honest individual, and sometimes that gets me into problems. However, sometimes it gives us some real positives. This has just been fantastic this week. I'm absolutely bowled over. You know what bowled over means? Impressed. All right? By your engagement, by your attitude, and by your appetite for learning. If we can keep this sort of thing going, we will make a huge difference to the lives of young people here in Manabee in terms of their English teaching. Okay. When Monty speaks to me about it, I should be very, very positive, but I'm not going to leave it there. I will be talking to student directors in the university and saying to them how impressive you have been this week. On behalf of me, again, university, and all the young people, we're going to have a better English teaching experience as a result of this. Thank you very, very much. Okay, right. Let's move on. So, you take one of these, okay, and what you do is you compare them against your top 10 tips for motivation and discuss. And if needs be, talk to me as your teacher. So spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes doing that. And then, okay, what I want you to do, okay, is each of these, okay, is a strategy that could put each of those into action. So these are the strategies for putting those into action. What you have to do is match. So first 5 to 10 minutes, looking at your top 10 tips and their top 10 tips, because this is written by top people in Cambridge. TKT is a big, big exam. So these people are specialists. And compare. And ask me if you need to. Then the next thing is you match these strategies to these ideas for maintaining motivation. Yeah? So, although Vicky makes lots of mistakes and does tend to learn, one, what are we doing? I'm not going to make that mistake again. Right, what are we doing, one?
Alright, we are going to read the introduction. That introduction has two parts.
Yeah.
The first one is the different activities that the students do in the classroom, and the other part is the kind of motivation. We are going to compare the two parts and
very close. Very, very close. Do you see how important it is you confirm understanding? It's not about his capacity, it's about classrooms. Alright, okay. There's noise going on, we're talking, whatever. It's best to confirm. He's nearly got it. Jimmy, what are we doing?
Well, first, we are reading the top 10 tips from our partners and comparing them to the TKT,
Yeah.
and then match the tips from the Cambridge to the activities, the strategies.
Well done. Got it? Everybody got it? Okay, Jimmy, well done. One, well done. Go. And involve me, yeah? Ask me. Off you go, peeps.
Can we have that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How to make it very difficult for your students? Don't give them the handouts. Right? That's the idea, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Take one. Pass them around and we'll start the second as well. Thank you for my copy. Bless you. Now this is about learning, this is about discussion, this is about right, what we need to be doing is I'm working on this activity, not checking what we're having for dinner tonight on our phones. Okay. Little bit of pidgin English from Thailand. Vic no like mobile phones. No.
So yesterday we wrote a few tips.
But not in a pronoun or in a name. So they don't say, I don't think they're like English. Because the structure, that's the danger of learning a language and using another language. That's why people make mistakes in English and Spanish, because they import structures from Spanish. So, for instance, you start with a verb. So, in other words, if we had sentence, meat and eats is dinner, subject, object. Spanish would say, comes, meat. So, see what I mean? So it's really important you stay in the language you're in. When you're in Spanish, stay in Spanish. When you're in English, stay in Spanish. Mandarin. I have a long time. Okay? So we're just having a conversation about how much money they're paying in China, which teachers, we mentioned it, massive, isn't it? Really, really big money. It's almost, it's getting towards the money they're paying in Saudi Arabia. I was offered a job for 3 months in China about a month ago, and the money was ridiculous. But what country are you talking about? China. Oh, China. Massive money. It was something like, so,
Not really.
it was something, but the thing, the point to remember is, it was something getting on for $1,000 a week, $1,000 a week. But I would have had to have done about 60 hours for it.
I was going to say,
That's the
Hong
difference.
Kong does it, but the rest of China, minimum, it's about 1,500 tops.
Great money, but you have to work at the trade.
Hong Kong, they drive you nuts.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think it's a personal thing as well. And it is a personal thing, isn't it? And I don't really fancy China.
Food is great, but living conditions are terrible. Pollution.
Yeah.
The best paying jobs are in the Middle East.
Yeah. But then you have to reconcile that with your politics, don't you? Really?
And also the religion.
Yeah.
I've been able to see it with my money. I've been able to socialize or have a beer.
Drink a beer.
Well, I think those sorts of things like reversing habits, like clubbing or you like to smoke or whatever, forget it when you get to Saudi Arabia. I had a friend who
You can do it, but it's
we're similar personalities. So are you sure you had cravings? And he I think it was something like 45 grams tax free. But you know what? He had some, and then he's a really strong boy as well. He came back after 8 weeks and said, because you can't go out of the compound, you can't have a drink, you can't go out and have a woman, you can't smoke on it. When at 8 o'clock in the morning, he had to be showered and ready, then come and pick him up in the van, take him to the school, teach him, bring him back, and go out the rest of the day. We're sending him a little bit. But fantastic money. Well, good money. But yeah, Asia they're paying. Korea,
Korea big
in September, when the pink blossom looked up, and I was in Nagasaki, and it's not as strong as it is in the dirt air jackets, but it's still strong. You wake up in the morning, all you can see it pink. It's just the most beautiful thing in the world.
And the smell is
Oh, yeah, it's true, isn't it? Yeah. You can see a picture of big Chinese cities where, you know, if you, I guess from above, all it would be like pink, but you literally, everywhere is pink blossoms. And like he said, you open your window and your door in the morning. I was there for about 10 days, and you just smell it. It's really strong, really intense. But you, yes, get yourself a selfie of the world is your passport. The world is your oyster, sort of say. Yeah, Javier, when you get home tonight or the weekend, go on the internet and put in there pink blossoms in Japan in September and see the pictures. Beautiful.
One of the things he told us is one of the things he told us is this you can see the pictures, it's painting image. It's very image.
An innovation of that is, when I said you can take that sample task home if you want to, but you don't have to, most people took it. So, really impressive.
Nick, would you say these tips are in a particular order or order of importance, or they just equally important?
Okay, a really good question in terms of the tips themselves that Cambridge have suggested. My understanding is that they are not listed in any particular order, so they're not suggesting one is more important than 10. That's my understanding. Looking through them, they're all really key, aren't they? However, you may feel that it's about prioritising certain ones and not others. I think it's more about you do different things at different times. It's all about doing different things at different times. So rather than prioritising, because for instance, some of these give some students something to work towards, have goals for yourself, and encourage students to have of your own. That's something that should go on throughout the whole semester. Maybe it's a bit more intense at the beginning when you're doing the planning of goals. But you need to be looking at those goals mid through the semester. How are we doing? Are we on track to achieve what we want? And then you return to them at the end of September. So that's something that's an overall. Whereas finding out about your students' interests so that you can provide material on topics, which is number 7, I would suggest that's more time-bound. In other words, is that the sort of thing that you should be doing at week 12, week 13, or is it you should be doing week 1, week 2? And it's clearly week 1, week 2. So I think it's less about prioritising and more about understanding when we do it. And maybe, Jimmy, thank you very much, that's something we do in the feedback. We talk about when we do it. Yeah? Cheers, Jimmy. Great point. Hello? I love working at UVM for that. every time you teach, somebody sort of like opens the door and like looks up. I always go, Buenas tardes, ¿quieres hablar un poco de inglés? Y ellos como ves. Shall we have a little listen to what well no, let's wait till the feedback. You're all understanding the task that you're doing, yeah? Hello? Are you understanding the task that you're doing?
They have this material over there. They have the material.
Well, I don't know who it was yesterday. Jimmy said to me, just talk and don't use the microphone because they can hear you. So that's what we're doing this morning. But they seem to want it on. Difficult, isn't it?
They are listening everything.
They can hear everything, yeah.
Are you sure?
Sorry?
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
You can tell me that.
But this is the issue, you see. I haven't got time to keep checking. It's teaching a session in front of you is very different than teaching a session in front of you and doing this every 2 minutes to check what they're doing. You can't do it. You listen to what I'm doing, and then when we do the elephant feedback, they can talk and any more can answer bonus.
Do they have?
I don't know. I don't think so, because Anya's not sending it through today. Because Eduardo, the first that I knew that you weren't all together was on Monday when they told me. I had no idea this was going on until I arrived on Monday. If I had done, I'd have said let's do it a different way. So I don't know, mate. I'm just trying to feed into the camera as much as I can. Thank you. Anybody else want to sign this register to say that you've been here? Because I think they'll be checking. How's my little star today? How is she? Your daughter, how is she? Is she good? She said what?
I want to buy a chocolate. No.
Is that what she said? What with the 50 cents that she's got? Good for her. That's the way. That's the way. She's, I tell you what, how old is she? To sit through that for a whole year yesterday and behave like she did, it was just fantastic. Can you imagine somebody who's 7 and all these adults would be really bored and she was brilliant. Oh, she was brilliant. Yeah. She was practicing English yesterday with me when we were sat together. Yeah. Well, later we sat together here and she did it again. She said this and thought good for you. She stuck it to life. This. Yeah. She's a star. But she did really well for 4 hours. Really, really well. So, okay, let's do a feedback. Hopefully they will return. If not, I'll try and do the feedback again. Okay, so what do we think about the, let's do the discussion part. How do your tips compare to the tips with Cambridge? From Cambridge. What would you say about that comparison between your tips and their tips? Eduardo's group. What can you tell us, Eduardo's group, about the tips?
Well, yesterday I mentioned about working with students outside. One of the top tips PhD suggests is encourage students to continue studying outside class. So it matched a little bit with the ones that we did yesterday.
Okay. So one of the things that Eduardo's saying is that there was a match between some of the activities that he's suggesting as tips for motivation and right, sorry, I was just distracted. Okay, so that matches with one of your tips. Any other of your tips on there?
When it says being enthusiastic in lesson,
Yeah.
and enthusiastic about the material that we see, set it to students, and also, I remember I mentioned the case, how we present to students, and we were working with and for example, that the teacher is supposed to be happy in order to share that happiness with the students.
Yeah.
So it also matches.
Okay. So, as a result of this activity, do you think you will use some of the TKT ideas for maintaining motivation?
For sure.
Excellent. What about the other Eduardo's group? How did it compare with your tips? The tips for motivation that Cambridge is suggesting and your tips. What have you learned from that? Your tips are?
Poor.
Okay.
I think I wasn't well with my idea.
Okay.
But
Can I ask you as a group then, you and Saeed, okay, and
Eduardo Jr. is my boy.
Eduardo Jr. Alright. Well, we can see that you're the son of Eduardo because look how handsome you are, my friend. Wow. Okay, now. Alright. So, with you, Saeed, and Eduardo Jr., so has that been a useful exercise? In other words, have you got more ideas for maintaining motivation? Would you use any of the Cambridge ideas?
I would.
Yeah. Excellent. So this has helped you, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Comments, Jose, I know that you weren't here, and Carolina, you weren't here yesterday, were you? For this activity. Did you do this activity, no? The top tips for motivation? I don't think you did it, did you? Right, okay. For you and Carolina, the top 10 tips that you have from Cambridge, useful? Will you use some of those ideas for maintaining motivation? Yeah. Do you think that when you are teaching in Ferdinand's that you will use these ideas for motivation? Where are you going? Joe? Joe? Is she coming back? Yeah. Okay. Will you use some of those ideas, do you think? Excellent. Good. Okay, because remember, all right, this is a workshop type situation that we're at the moment where we're discussing things as professionals. There's no right or wrong answers, it's about learning together. Jacob, what do you think? Comparison in terms of your tips and Cambridge's tips.
I think there were about 4 or 5 in my list.
Right.
And I guess I included quite a few more after the 10 yesterday.
Right.
I find that this tips from TKT kind of summarize all the ideas that I've read over the years on how to engage students. And I think that is the bottom line. Getting resources, getting fresh ideas, or remember some of the things that may have worked in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, one of the reasons why I'm very complimentary about what you've done this week is because of that. You know, I've noticed lots of different times where somebody has suggested an idea and it's obviously sparked interest in somebody else's head, and they've gone back to that person after break or before break and wants to know more. That's exactly what these courses are about. They are not about assessing your ability to complete a course and learn loads of those. They're about, okay, taking these issues that we're dealing with and exploring them in a professional context. So what you've just said there is excellent. Again, it repeats what's being said here. Maybe you haven't got all of those ideas on your list. That's not a problem. You've got them now, and use them when you feel they can be make a difference. Ali and Carlos.
Well, I think the TKT tips are better, are more general, and in that sense they're good. But in the end, I believe that we didn't yesterday with the group. We didn't let many of. I mean, something related, some tips related were not left out of the list. So in the end, there were very few items that are not on the TBT list.
Right.
In the end. So for instance, I can see like the word variety.
Yeah.
That we didn't use yesterday, but it was kind of in the ideas we put yesterday. There was a variety of things, but the word itself wasn't mentioned.
Right.
I think one thing that was not considered yesterday was about being clear in our instructions, in our tasks. That wasn't mentioned yesterday. But besides that, I think pretty much everything was mentioned. So I think it was.
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why you should give yourselves a huge pat on the back when you walk out there today, because as a result of your engagement and your attitude and your contributions you've made this week, that's where we are. But what he's saying is, yeah, there's a lot of ideas on this TKT sheet that we've mentioned at different times this week, and there's maybe 2 or 3 ones that we've come across that we've not come across before. That's great. This is exactly what we should be doing. If it means you go away being a more effective teacher, then we've done what we needed to do. So this is a way of giving you more resources and tools for doing the job. Really good. Okay, any comments before we move on to the comparison? Yay or nays? No? Okay, so let's have a look at the strategy comparison. Now what we're going to do, because for some of you this is absolutely brand new material, we're going to go through, and anybody who doesn't understand, you must put your hand up. All right? I say this to all of my students, this is a time for us to practice. If we're going to make mistakes, make them here. All right? And whatever you do, don't walk out with a question in your head. All right? I'll even go a bit further sometimes, because students like a bit of humour, and say, I don't need to do this, I'm an English teacher, this is for you. All right? So take what you need from me. What's the point of sitting on the 14 bus going home thinking, I don't understand that, when you've got a friendly, open-minded teacher you can ask? It's exactly the same for you. If you don't follow this next part, you must ask. This is for you. Okay, so let's work our way through it then. And I'll just go around the room picking people at random. Yes. Okay. Who should we start with then? Right. Let's start with my friend Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy. Give students something to work towards, have goals for yourself, and encourage students to have goals of their own. Okay. So, James, which would you match that with?
With letter A. No, sorry. With letter I.
Okay. Read it out.
So students will be intend to achieve by the end of the course and find out what they want to achieve.
Absolutely. What did we do on Monday? What did we do on Monday afternoon? Sorry, I'll rephrase that. What did we do on Monday just before break, or just after break? What did I give you just after break on Monday?
The program.
The program. Okay, I have to say, I don't understand why for teachers in the very first lesson with the very first group, you don't tell them what they're going to do for the next 16 weeks. It might be a bit more effort for you now, but believe me, it saves you an awful lot of time later on. Because what you don't do is get to week 6 and 7 and they all go, what are we doing next week then for exams? What we're doing next week for reviewing, because they know they've got it. And you keep making references to it all the time. It's fundamental that on the first day of the course you tell them what they're doing. Okay, so Jimmy's now on the phone, so we can't ask him everything. So that particular strategy to maintain motivation, I'm going to give you an extra question. When do you do it?
First day of class.
Absolutely. Right at the beginning of the class. Because if you're talking to them about goals for yourself, for them, for you as a group, there's no point doing it halfway through the course. Right? It has to be done at the beginning.
In Bahia, we're supposed to even have the students sign that they have received the equality. That means we tell them what the whole 16 weeks are all about.
I think you're absolutely right, and it relates to what we were saying yesterday, where what we need to do is get away from what they call in Europe a tick box attitude to education, where actually what we do is we give them the politicas, we circulate the politicas around the room and they sign it. Can I suggest two things? That does not mean that you discussed it, and it does not mean they understand it. All you're doing is just getting it down, getting it ticked because you've got a job to do. Well, like we said yesterday and the day before, let's use this a bit more positively, okay? Let's put the politicas within a ground rule session. And then you're absolutely right. They can sign it because they've understood it and they know what it's about. And when you get to week 6 and your colleague is struggling because his class doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing, yours is running like a train. So yeah, at the beginning, get them to sign it, but explain it and discuss it. Do not just distribute it around and tick it. Because if you do, and you've got a problem in week 4 with mobile phones, whose fault's that? So, okay. Any questions on that strategy? Okay, let's have somebody else then.
I have a question. Please,
Yeah.
Can you explain me, please, about I have a doubt. Because I was reading the different activities that we are doing. Yesterday, you said about promote curiosity. Curiosity
Yeah.
is important to improve the motivation. Okay. For example, I will really be enthusiastic in lessons. I'm enthusiastic about the material you are using. All right. For example.
Okay. Let's stay with this one.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Ago, 1 month ago, I was telling my students about inspirational people. About inspirational people.
Inspirational.
I was telling a short story about, for example, Thomas Edison.
Okay.
Thomas Edison was a great inventor.
So you were making light work of it then? Anybody see the funny side of that? Light work of it? Light electricity? Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, well, it wasn't too bad, was it, for a Londoner at 10:10 in the morning? But yeah,
Yeah, got a great background.
Right.
That is a good experience to tell the story to the students because they are developing faith,
Okay.
motivation, a big man, a big mentor. It can be a good inspiration.
I think you're
That's a kind of motivation for the
I think you're absolutely right, and you've got it. Well done. So on that case, if you're looking at number 2, which of the strategies would you match it? Which strategy would do that for you? Look at the strategies, A to J. Which of those, okay, do you have to do to make sure that you're enthusiastic about the material you're using. Which strategy matches to that?
That was it was comparing.
Well, it's not comparing. What you have to do is you have to look at the strategy and think which of these things do you have to do to get this. So which is
Yeah, for example, it would be,
Yeah. So pick a letter, don't worry. It doesn't matter if we get it wrong.
I haven't finished.
Okay. Can somebody help him then? What do we do? It's D. Absolutely. It's D. Alright. Start your lessons with a warmer to raise energy levels. So you start your lesson with a warmer. You start with a lesson with a warmer. And
Raise energy levels.
yeah, and you do your warmer on Thomas Edison.
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, telling a biography.
Anything that's going to engage them. What I would suggest to you, though, be very careful about the way that you do that, because if it's a biography one, all right, okay, with the greatest respect, I think it's really interesting, Thomas Edison, and you know, if you use it in the right way, it can be quite sparkling. Thank you, Jacob. Right. Oh, Jose gets it as well. Thank you very much. Right. However, with the greatest respect, is that the most exciting person in the world for Manabi students to be learning about? It has to have some kind of connection to their lived reality. So perhaps a more ideal person to pick would be that Ecuadorian who's the only person to win a gold medal at the Olympics. Jefferson.
Your student reach your goal.
Yeah. Or a footballer that's playing for Barcelona. Or who's that guy that used to play for Emelec who's now gone to Mexico? I can't. Bolanos. So you pick, all right, a person that's going to have some relevance. Now, let me ask you, Jefferson Perez or Thomas Edison, which of the Manabi students have a bigger connection?
Different. One
So-
is heavy, the other is light.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. All right. Okay. So yeah, be enthusiastic in your lessons about the material you're using and sell it to your students. Can I just say to you, all right? Okay, and you must see this, all right? Think about how infectious enthusiasm is. If you are enthusiastic, it's very difficult for your students not to be enthusiastic back. You can almost push them into responding how you want them to respond. So, for example, impossible not to smile back, isn't it? Are you okay? There you go, look. So, it's amazing. You smile at somebody, unless they're really, really miserable, they are going to smile back. And if they are really miserable, you know you've got a situation to work on. All right? Enthusiasm is absolutely infectious. People have moved mountains with enthusiasm. Look what you did here in 2016 at the earthquake. That wouldn't have been possible without enthusiasm. All right, so use it. Yeah. Well, use it, okay, because it's infectious, but make sure that you're using people when you're engaging, when you're using people, that they have a connection with the people you're working with. Ali, number 3, make sure your material is well presented and attractive for learners. Firstly, Ali, if I can ask you, Ali, I'm going to come back to Jose in a minute. How did your top tips compare with Cambridge tips? And what have you got from that?
Most of them guessing. The links.
How did they compare with your tips? The first part. How did they compare with the tips that you wrote? differences on that? Some people are saying H. Okay. Ali, why does it mention with, match with A?
Well, it's very important that students know what to do
Uh-huh.
with clear instructions.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And when someone is well presented, it's easy to follow.
Okay. Just to help you a little bit, and don't worry if we're having to sort of learn through this process. This is what it's all about. Okay. I think why some people are saying H and why some rather than A is A is about how you demonstrate tasks. Okay. Whereas 3 is about your material. So 3 is about the material. Okay. A is about you. All right. Can you see that, Ali? Because 3 is saying make sure your material is well presented. A is saying demonstrate tasks so the students know what to do. So one's about demonstration, one's about material. So if you look down to H, use pictures on handouts and vary the font size and layout. So that's about material. Got it? Well done, everybody. Those people that got it. Okay. Just as a side, somebody asked me about, somebody asked me about working with people with disabilities. Okay, let's just explore that for 30 seconds. What is the font that you should be using on your paperwork for people, for instance, who have dyslexia? And remember, it's important because the significant percentage of people who've got dyslexia don't know they've got it. So we have to be proactive, in which case, what font should we use for working with people with disabilities? Well, okay, 2 things. Believe me, I don't have an issue with you about not knowing that, not at all. I think it's the university's responsibility to provide training to help you understand how important it is. Okay, so I'm not being critical to it. In fact, you've got my support. Not having these sessions doesn't help you. Okay, you should be writing in Arial DOSing, Arial 12. Arial 12 has been recommended universally for those people who suffer from dyslexia. I don't know why, because I'm not a font person, but that's the one. If you don't believe me, and that's fine, okay, or you want to check it out for yourself, just contact a disability organisation in Europe, the States, or the UK, and they will confirm it. Arial DOSing.
Well, in
Yeah, sorry, my pronunciation, I should write that on the board of yours. No, he's right. He's right. Yeah. So that's the font and that's the size. I don't know why, but you know, like the Royal Society, whoever they are in the UK, recommend it. I don't know why. But this has been public for some time, years and years.
I particularly don't like it, but yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
I have students with autism, and the department in our high school, they recommended to put it in a big font, but also in a different color.
Anything you can pick up, all right, that is going to help you to be proactive for the hidden students within your group that are having difficulty with dyslexia and don't know, or colour blindness and don't know, anything you can do to anticipate and be proactive about that will help. Absolutely. I think this point here is more about, less about why is Arial 12 the best, and more about, you know, some of the fonts that we use are just incredibly difficult for people to read. All right, so, your question too.
Yeah, we hear about when material will be presented and attractive to learn.
Yeah.
What happens if you go to work in an institution that will give you a book that is not attractive to learn?
For example,
Great question.
Here at the university, they are working with a book from Uleam.
right?
Do you know that book?
Yeah.
For me, it's
Well, the whole issue around textbooks and and materials is a real issue here. And, you know, I think that we are disadvantaged slightly because we haven't got a group of people at senior director level that clearly understand what teaching English as a foreign language is about. And I think that hampers us somewhat. Hamper means makes it difficult. So, for example, I know there's at least 10 people in here that sat in a meeting with the Vice Rector of Academico less than a year ago who said that all the materials that we need to teach English as a foreign language we can put off the internet. Remember? Yeah. Okay. Can you remember? Jose can remember, Jimmy can remember, I can remember, Alejandro. So if your Vice Rector Academico says to you that you can teach a foreign language with materials off the internet, what does that say to you?
You don't have to learn another language.
Yeah, you don't have to answer me. I mean, forgive me, but you have to address that question in your head. All right, okay. Now, the reason why you need to address that question in your head is clearly you need to look elsewhere for the answer to your textbook things, because that's not helpful. Absolutely not helpful at all. Okay, so you then come back to the textbook thing. And somebody said to me about 3 months ago, one of the difficulties with Uleam is it reminds us of the English saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Do you know that saying? A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. In other words, if you're going to comment on things, you need to know what you're talking about and not comment from a little bit of knowledge. So, following on from there, okay, we're in a situation where, because we're in a public institute, supposedly we can't change our charge for our books. So we're then in a situation where things happen on a provincial level, where we write a book with UTM. And with the greatest respect that went on that, it's clear, because me and him were involved in it, and Marisol was involved in it, that again, Uleam weren't clear about what they should be doing. And unfortunately, we couldn't offer the kind of support we should have done to UTM. However, it is fair to say, and it's been written by other people, that that book has had difficulties. So here we are in this situation, okay, where also we're being dictated to by the books that teach the university has in the library. Alright? So what do you do in the middle of this? What do you do in the middle of this? And my take on it, okay, is that I am a professional teacher, I'm being paid to do a job, and I therefore have to do it to the best of my ability. Now, based on my knowledge, skills, and attitudes, alright, okay, the best of my ability for me means that I go and buy a textbook, alright, that is a really good textbook. And a really good textbook for me is either Cambridge, Oxford, or Trinity, one of those three, for me. Okay, and I use that book all the way through as a resource. So, there you go.
In my case, I have some pictures about resisting our life, for example, the garage shop, beach, bus station, something else. So in this case, I am teaching them vocabulary and grammar. Then I give the student this copy just to talk and practice every day in the same way. What do you think about it? Is it correct?
Well, my answer to you is very much to repeat what I've just said. Okay, if you're going to use a book, and I think a textbook is extremely useful because it supports your teaching in terms of it gives you vehicles that you can do. So it gives you reading, you've got to use reading skills. It gives you worksheets, gap fills, missing words, all those. In other words, it gives you the material for your students to practice what you're teaching. However, what you're teaching comes from you. It does not come from the textbook. Yeah, the Cambridge books just about do it for you. In the front of the Cambridge books, there's not only a student's guide, there's a teacher's guide and how to teach each particular part. But I have to say I still don't use that because I've been trained to teach English as a foreign language in the same way as what you've done these 3 weeks. When you walk out of there in 3 weeks, you can do it. You can do it now. What we're doing is just making it better. in which case you have to have a professional attitude to it, that the book is your vehicle for practicing and giving you material. It's not the thing that drives your lesson. But, coming back to you saying, it is exceptionally important in South America because of the things that we've just been talking about, the lack of knowledge at a senior level, that you use a book that is minimum linked to the Common European Framework reference. Minimum. And I have to say, the UTM book and lots of other books aren't. So, now I know that puts you in a particular difficult situation, but what's more important, alright? Being able to go home at night knowing that you've done your best job, or going, this is a complete mess and I'll just use any old material. Just because everybody else, alright, is not doing their job as well as they possibly could do, doesn't mean that you go, well, I'm doing that as well. You have to maintain your professional standards. Do we know this? This qualification. $96 a book with an audio and a CD. But I teach IELTS, so I've got no choice. It's an investment. Okay, let's move on. Number 4, personally, I think it's a tragedy that we're in this situation. And to be honest with you, education should be free. They should walk through there and have a textbook free. But that's not the world we live in, is it? So we have to operate as well as we can. Yeah? Okay, so good textbooks, that's the answer. If you use a textbook that's got CFR frame links, I mean, some of these textbooks that we've been using, or some of these materials, are actually teaching students the wrong thing. So be very, very careful. Use quality material.
Yeah, although it's not ethical and there is difficulty with patents. But you see, if you take a picture of what somebody's lecturing, or somebody takes a picture of your book and they do a PDF on it, you avoid having to buy it.
Okay.
You're not encouraging that,
Okay.
but that's what you find in many places.
Okay. I know I'm going to say something now, all right, that probably needs unpacking outside of the classroom at break time, and I'm more than happy to do that and unpack it. Just repeat what you've just said.
People take pictures of books.
Yeah.
And they can share.
Yeah.
And you can even have a picture, do a PDF on that, and then they have a reference that doesn't cost. It is almost the same as photocopying. And it's happening everywhere. As long as you make people aware that they're infringing on copyrights.
Right. Okay. I think, okay, without a shadow of doubt, this whole conversation around resources, particular textbooks, needs to be put in a cultural context. Absolutely no doubt, okay. And one of the aspects that suggests that that is very, very important, okay, is what Jake's saying about there. I want him to repeat the last sentence again really slowly because I want you to think about the implications of what we're saying. Last sentence.
I have to make them aware that what they're doing, what I'm doing by suggesting, infringes on patent rights.
Right, great, okay. I think, personally, the concern that some teachers have expressed to me about photocopying textbook, personally, and I know this is a real big thing to say, and we'll probably need 4 hours to discuss it, is a legacy of the historical, the social, political, economic framework historically enacted. Now, if you want me to explain that, I will. For example, when there's something wrong with the technology and a teacher arrives in the room, what you get told to be is be flexible. Personally, I think that is something that we've all bought into, to accept poor practice by institutions such as this. When you walk in to teach, your room should be ready for you. If it isn't, it's about the institution and not you. And I think flexibility is used erroneously to suggest that what you've got to do is the best you can with what you've got. It's not about flexibility. I think that's a legacy from your history, personally. So, if we follow that through and take it a little bit one stage further in terms of what Jake is saying, all right, that means that what you've got to do is adopt that professional attitude all the way through, including in respect of resources. They have to be top quality resources. Answer it? Yeah. Sure? Any other questions, comments? Okay, number 4. Everybody understand that last bit? Yeah? Okay, number 4. This is quite a critical session because we're getting a lot of things aired and out in the open. And one of them is that. Yeah, number 4 then, give clear instructions. Carlos, what do you think?
Give clear instructions for tasks so that students can achieve your aims. That's 4, right? Actually, A, demonstrate tasks so that students know what to do, understandings of instructions.
Absolutely. So it links the number to letter A. So that's the bit, Ali, where you demonstrate their tasks. It's a clear understanding of instructions, which is obviously something that you can continue to learn all the time. Look at the mistake I made this morning by not giving you clear instructions on the paper plate. It rebounded on me. Okay, so very, very important. Jose, number 5.
C.
Absolutely, it's C. Absolutely. It's really important that you vary it, okay? Like we said yesterday, concentration spans for under 8, somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes. Young adults, 21, 22 minutes. If your activities are going on longer, you need to think about changing that, keeping it fresh. Remember, some of your classes at 7 o'clock at night, after your students have dealt with a day in South America, a whole day in an institution like this, they might need a bit of lifting. Yeah? Okay, think about it. Number 5, 1, yeah?
I have a question.
Yeah?
This one is related to the before question number 4. It said, do you give clear instruction for tasks so that the student can achieve your aims?
Yeah.
For example, in this case, we have in the classroom the brightest students.
Yeah.
So, in this case, we have students with weakness, strength,
Yeah.
abilities. Okay.
Uh-huh.
In this case, we have a problem because the weaker students don't do the task, don't do the exercise, the activity, the task because another students have the strength abilities. In this case, I consider, I think that it's important to encourage the teamwork.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just as we've done in this group all the way through this week, if somebody knows the answer or the solution to a situation, I think it's a reasonable expectation as a teacher to expect them to help. I understand, okay, that we are much more of an individualised world than we used to be 10 years ago, but we should help each other. And you, as Ecuadorians, have a worldwide reputation for looking after each other after the earthquake. So carry on doing that.
I realize that in this group we have a professor that had many experience, that more knowledge.
Yeah.
Another is the teacher that had a lot of experience.
Don't be afraid.
But that is very important because we are
Don't be afraid to do that with your students, okay? Some people will say to you, one thing that you could do with a weak student is sit them with a strong student. Well, it is a strategy, a real good strategy, and I've used it before, and I'm sure lots of teachers use it, but be careful, all right? Okay, don't just do it because you think that's the only solution. It's actually sometimes that can make it worse. What if the slow person with a strong personality drags the more advanced person down a little bit? Or what if the advanced person has got a personality that's not very patient and makes the weak person feel even worse? So you have to really think about those sorts of combinations. But you're absolutely right. Use the resources in front of you. One way, all right, to give your students instant confidence is at the beginning of the lesson say, let's do a skills audit. And they go, what's a skills audit? Well, it's where we write down all the things that we can do. And then you write down all the things we can do, and the board is absolutely full. And they go, wow, look at what we can do as a group. They don't say that, but you can see it in their faces. Blimey, look at all the knowledge and skills we've got as a group. And it's a confidence builder. Okay, number 5. Jimmy, number 5, Jimmy. What have you got for number 5? 6, sorry. Jimmy number 2, yeah. Provide a variety of interaction patterns in your lessons. What can you match that with? Which of the strategies, Jimmy, will you match?
Maybe use picture on panels, vary on font size, layouts, etc.
Okay. Okay. So when you see that sentence, provide a variety of interaction patterns, what do you mean by interaction patterns, or what do you understand by interaction patterns?
So the interaction, I understand that can be when the student try to create information about that group. Maybe there's about when you were explaining the topic of the
Nearly. An interaction pattern, okay, is the pattern of that interaction. So you could be in pairs, you could be in groups, you could be in a whole group. That's an interaction pattern, all right, okay? So when it says to you, use a variety of interaction patterns, what it's saying is do some pair work, do some group work, do some whole group work, do some individual work. You know the one thing that we miss again and again? Let them have some quiet time. Let them have 10 minutes where they're reading something and nobody's talking, so they can just do a bit of quiet time. So interaction pattern means varying. Pairs, groups, threes, whole groups.
That is J.
dirty.
Do pair work and group work
and change
and change to
Brilliant. Well done. Got it? Excellent. You're welcome. Any other questions on that one? No? That's an interaction pattern. Jay, do pair work, group work, change students around so they can work with different people, which is what we've done this week. Very, very important.
Now, do you suggest to allow them to move up by themselves, or sort of you decide?
Fantastic question. You have just been brilliant this week. You really have. Again, and I'm a great believer in it, judging what's going on in front of you. So it's about your group, the time, the level, the day, the topic, everything, absolutely everything. Okay. So there have been times this week when I've said in groups of 4, in groups of pair. This morning, for the very first time, I put you in groups, didn't I? Everton Liverpool, Everton Liverpool. Judging. The reason why I didn't do it earlier at the beginning of the week is that I'm a great believer in the beginning of the week, you leave as much freedom for students to do what they should be doing as possible. Because that will give you an idea of what you need to do with that group. If you've got a group where you say, okay, into groups of 4, work with somebody you've never worked with before, it will give you new ideas. And they are an engaged, motivated, strong group, they will do it themselves. If it takes them 10 minutes to do it, you can observe within that there are certain things that you need to work with on those students. Apart from what you're doing now, perhaps they're not motivated, perhaps they're spending 10 minutes to do something, perhaps they're doing too much talking, perhaps they're not focused. So actually getting them to do it themselves tells you a lot about that group. But you can always step in and do it as you want. Apple, oranges, pears, apples, oranges, pears, apples, oranges, pears. The key to it is the point that Jimmy's making, you need to vary it. This session is the longest session we'll probably do in 3 weeks, because it's too long in some ways, but it's difficult to do it in any other way. So I'm very aware that we need to change this, but we've got a break coming, so. Number 7. Who said me? Yeah. Number 7, or number 7?
Number 7.
Yeah.
Provide a questionnaire with topics so the students can choose which ones they like best.
Absolutely. Find out about your students' interests. You can provide material on topics that they like. Well, the way to do that is to provide a questionnaire with topics so students can choose the ones they like. You can mix it up with the evaluation tool. You know, there's nothing wrong to say, how have you found this course, how have you found this, how have you found that, what are your ideas for the future? You see, I know, or I am aware of the reputation that I have in Uleam, but you know what, when I walk into a classroom, I'm not a teacher and they're students, all right? We are together. Their role is to learn, my role is to facilitate it. If you have that more sort of even-handed situation with students, they'll do a lot of this for you, really will. Especially when you get them into groups. Because don't forget, you do have bossy people in your groups. There are lots of students that love to organise with the students. Give them to them. Yeah, don't give it to them. Number 8, encourage students to relax in lessons and encourage them to talk to each other and to help each other. What does that link with, Javier?
I'm not sure, but yeah, B.
Absolutely, it's B. Watch what I do when you come in here in the morning, all right? Okay. I know a lot of it is instinct because I've been doing it for so long, but it's only become instinctive and habitual because I've been trained to do it and I do it and I do it. When you walk in here in the morning, I have a conversation with you. I had a conversation with him this morning about what he was doing last night. I had a quick conversation with Ali, very, very quick. Conversation with Saeed, conversation with Javier, conversation with what? No, not this woman, actually. One of you, I can't remember what it was. It's really important you create that because they can come in, they can sit talking to each other, they can relax, and guess what? When they're a little bit more confident and they're B1, you can say, you know when you come in and you do that bit, hi Javier, how are you? Let's do it in English. And all of a sudden they've got some opportunity to use English, all right, okay, to communicate about what happened last night without them worrying about you assessing them. Really important for the language. They have to be able to use it freely without you going, you didn't pronounce your ED properly, that's simple. Yeah, very, very important. Next, praise all students when they have done something well, especially weaker learners. What does that link with? G, absolutely. It goes back to the final point that I'm going to talk about before we go on a break, because I've got 1 minute, okay? It goes back, all right, why this is so very, very important is I do believe that, I don't know how to turn these off. It's Anya. It's one of your students, I think. Hello? Hello? I'm really well done. I'm just finishing a section. Go on, tell me. Don't worry. Okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry. Listen, have a fab weekend and thank you for ringing me, yeah? You're welcome. Have a great weekend and thank you for ringing me. Ciao, ciao. Bye. There you go, you see? So, ground rules. What did we say on ground rules? If you're not showing up, ring me and let students' organisation to deal with in many, many ways. However, within the organisation are some absolutely exceptional individuals. And if you read this, you will see coming through here a request, in a way, for a much more egalitarian, equal, and much more effective system of education. What Cambridge is saying here is the right thing to do. What we need to do is get away from education systems that are based on catching people doing things wrong, and go towards education systems that are catching people doing things right. Because that's the way people learn. When you know you've done something right, your mum, your dad, your teacher, your uncle, your aunt, your grandma, you will do it again. That's the last thing I want to say to you before we go for a break. Out of all these strategies, it's the most important one because of the world we live in that is so negative and so punitive. We need to use the praise angle massively. Because look at all the other things that come from it. If nothing else, they feel really good. And if they feel really good, they'll learn. See you at 11:30. Thank you. Do you want to make it 11:20 so that you can go early?
Yeah.
Yeah, 11:20 then.
So we leave at
12:15. So we leave at 12:20. Now there's the South American for you. Look. Are you coming back? Oh. Yeah.
Maintenance que
One correct. From now on, we're always talking English.
You are invited to coffee.
Thank you very much.
a very delicious coffee, British coffee.
Prepared by Angela.
Alright, coffee. You are invited.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Coffee is prepared by. Emotionally.
Vamos a ensayar.
Engañe.
Lo primero que me dice la vez.
Oh, we didn't. With fun, we're going to go with that. Yeah,
Ah, pues. Caliente aquí. Bueno, no sé qué sea. No hay rango,
Hasta ahora, igual este semestre, para este semestre no hay ningún problema. Hay que ver los trabajos. Porque organizar y abarcar la mayor cantidad de carrera en la mayor tipo de cocina y que para la no, esa
Excellent. Well, try and stay in touch then. Yeah, Ali's got your number, hasn't he, and everything, yeah. Sí, estoy cambiando un poquito.
Yo quiero trabajar en esta forma. Yo tengo y no, yo todo lo que tuve en medio. Que no terminó la media. Yo le dije, ¿qué quieres? Yo me senté y me vio que tenía así como de trabajar. ¿Qué pasa con la copa?
Yeah. Well, change. But I think it's easier. I think it's easier to take
Sí, I can do this. A good suggestion, Phil. Easy. Let's see. Yeah, no, you're right. It's my English is not good enough. You used to comparative one, right, sir? Brilliant. You're right, Jim. Everything I was choosing. Everything.
I understand the usual knocks about cheese, but you can't get anything this time without cheese. No.
I'm the same way. I don't like cheese.
Oh.
I like fresh. You like?
I don't like fresh.
Yeah, that's the one I particularly don't like. I don't like.
I don't like milk stuff. Here they have this,
That's a way. De suelo dice way. Way is way. W-H-E-A. No, W-H-E-Y.
Yeah, it's like a cream.
I don't know. It's very nutritious.
Yeah.
There you go.
Last hour.
Thank you, see you, baby.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. The color is perfect.
Thank you.
Hey.
I was going to say to you, I've really quite a poor background. And when we used to come home from school, we had like a tea, I still did, so, and it was all cheese, often it was cheese, and it was used to get cheese on toast. And it's the smell of cheese cooking, so now, you know, I can't even go anywhere near it. I smell it, that's what melody is, that's a job. Cheese on toast, I hate it.
I had the same problem, Justin. Like now, when I was a kid, it was always cheese. There was a lot of cheese, at least cheese. It's a criollo. It has a strong smell. I like other cheese, but when they're hot, they're melted. Like mozzarella get a pizza, it's softer.
My brother used to
Although this, I think it's not much milk. It's much.
Si uno paga la asociación,
Yeah, just put a little bit. Just for the cafe. Oh.
yo tengo claro lo que sí que tengo.
Le iban a, Marcela creo que le iba a dar una, le iban a hacer una contestación a su juicio o algo así. Cualquier cosa ahí pregúntele a Marcela, porque con Marcela estuvo conversando la ingeniera al respecto. Ya, Marcelita.
¿Hay algo positivo o no?
Lo que pasa es que creo que en el sistema le sale que usted tiene relación de dependencia en otra unidad pública.
Bueno, debe ser normal, acá en las cátedras, igual que yo.
Bueno, de todos modos, mejor conversé con Marcela porque no sé exactamente qué respuesta le habrá dado a la ingeniera, porque fue con ella que conversó.
La ley de educación superior dice, si uno trabaja en la universidad,
puede dar clase de nivel 2, pero no puede dar dos trabajos superior. Segundo nivel sí puede.
Claro, de todos modos puede acercarse a esa secretaría.
La otra cosa que quiero preguntarse es decir, ¿esos seminarios pagan de nosotros?
No, solamente el certificado que sirve para perfeccionamiento docente.
La próxima semana aquí mismo, ¿no?
Sí.
Ya.
That's because said that they wanted in March. They wanted March the whole month.
So, sorry,
And that's why they said, okay, if you want the whole March, then you're not having.
Okay, my friends, let's start and then we can go a little bit earlier. Okay, I understand.
No problem.
Really? Okay, we'll be here on Monday. Come in here on Monday. But great to see you and thank you for coming and thank you for your contributions as well. Okay, so some of you last night decided to attempt to do a sample task with TKT. Anybody in this room tried it? Did anybody in the room try the sample task last night? Anya. There was a sample TKT task. If anybody tried it, I can give you the results to it. If nobody tried it, let's not bother.
Can we see it on Monday?
Can we see it on Monday? Okay, we've got two things to remember on Monday then, okay? One thing that we need to remember is... That's for today.
For today?
Today. Monday, what have we got to ask Eduardo?
Colors?
Absolutely, we need to ask Eduardo the order that we use descriptive adjectives, long, whatever. The second thing we need to do is Anya needs to remember to say to Nick, can we mark the sample task? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're going to do it over the weekend, some of you, yeah? Okay, no worries. I'll make sure that I make a note of that so I don't forget. Okay, so... Anya marks. Okay. It's not compulsory for you to do that, but it's an opportunity for you to increase your learning. It's really up to you. But I will mark it on Monday. Okay, so one of the things, one of the major responsibilities that we've been talking about this morning and we touched upon at other stages in the last couple of days, okay, is this idea, okay, of the effective language teacher. Clearly one of the responsibilities is to motivate, okay? But before we do some more profiling about roles and responsibilities, because that's something that we need to do, one of the things that we could do to make it a nice, easy end to the week is actually have some teachers to work with. Because if we're looking at that qualities, skills, roles and responsibilities, it would be a good idea to have some teachers to work with. So, with no more delay, okay, this is for you and Anya, this is for you Carlos, this is for you Eduardo and Eduardo Jr. and thank you very much for being here. God bless you. Okay, this is for Jake and Jimmy. Okay, and this is for Jimmy Velez. Jimmy Velez, if you can work with these two. Yeah? Okay. So what we've got here, okay, is a nice big piece of paper, and hopefully you remember to bring your paints and markers what I want you to do on your big piece of paper is draw a picture of your teacher. Okay? And on one side of the picture,
A current teacher or?
any teacher you want. It could be your ideal teacher, your nightmare teacher, the most attractive teacher you've ever had, the best teacher you've had. Some mad Englishman that's decided to live in Manta. You might do one on me, yeah. That would be mad, wouldn't it? There you go. All right. So you draw a picture or paint a picture of your favourite teacher, and on one side you write down the qualities, and on the other side you write down the skills. How you demonstrate that is up to you. So be creative with your drawings. So, Jake, what are we doing? Listening to Jake?
I'm going to use my tablet and use colors because I didn't bring the.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
See it?
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
here. And I'm going to draw a picture of my favorite teacher or a teacher.
Yeah.
And on the left-hand side or the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing that. I describe the qualities or the characteristics of such a person.
Right. Absolutely. On one side, qualities. On one side, skills. But if you can, use the big bit of paper. Yeah. Use the big bit of paper. So come on, this is a nice way to end a good week. Right. So draw your pictures, people.
I can swallow lesson.
Use any space you want. If you want me to move, I'll move. Anything you want me
How much time does it take?
20 minutes. You've got more than enough time.
I was wondering, I have a teacher in mind, and if he has another, how will we grow the teacher?
Say again.
If I have a teacher in mind, and he has another teacher, how do we grow the teacher?
Okay.
How do you think you need to do that then?
Or I guess you just choose
As a result of
withdrawals.
negotiation, discussion, you have to sort it out.
So let's use.
So you have to decide amongst yourselves.
All right.
Okay, be strong, don't let him bully you. Not that he'll bully you. Of all the things that I could think about Alejandro, one thing he definitely is a bully. Absolutely. Too nice to be a bully.
The whole thing can be used how?
You can use however much of it you need. Half, full, whatever.
Yeah. Here, let's use this. Clean.
Okay.
Genius working. Genius working.
Okay. Work with Carlos.
Aye.
He'll tell you what we're doing. Yeah. Ali, do you need this table?
No, just have them.
Most of my stuff is just it's taking up all the room.
You mind if we just, couple of your markers?
No, I don't. But do me a favour in that, because this is how I got it. Don't steal them.
Okay. I won't.
Yes, you, because you.
Where did Ange go to? Has Ange gone? Ange?
What makes her a good teacher?
Skills.
She was my primary school teacher when I was young.
So we're gonna draw the teacher now.
Cat?
So which teacher?
Right, Cat. Right.
Yeah.
I studied Russian at the time.
So why do we say male or female?
Yeah. But I have just a sketch.
Jimmy,
Okay.
some extra paper for your children to play with.
Where?
Just, I've got so much of it. Take it home and let them draw on it. Yeah. But then on Sunday morning when they're badgering you, you can think, "Fucking hell, me, why did you do that?"
We can do some one more.
Okay.
Male or female?
I'm concentrating on the drawing first.
Very good.
Male?
Ahora nos empezamos a tiempo completo.
Ali.
I'm just writing to later.
Look at it, look.
I told Monse, I don't know if that helped, that it would be good if they sent us on it's trying to, the word in my head is Spanish, a class, a course, a training. And I think that that would help motivate the teachers, because we were a bit dismotivated, because they weren't paying us the time, there was too much.
Was this before this course?
Yes, and this, I don't know, maybe that helped influence her.
And now she's done it. Yeah, well, thank you very much. Because he knows that we've been trying to do this for 18 months.
Really well.
Last night, I just got so excited about Ali, because Monty said to me, "You've done it now, Nick." And I went, "What do you mean?" And he went, "Well, how many teachers did you have today?" And I said, "Well, about 15 in the group, one's in China money." Well, let's imagine they work with 30 students in the next semester. That means that you've made a direct difference to 1,000 students' lives every year. And I just got so excited. I was running around the apartment. Yeah, I was almost in tears. Yeah. Because this is a huge... I mean, that said to me, this is the first course of English I've trained in 9 years.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So yes, I'm very happy, thank you. Very, very happy.
That's good.
She's a very good designer, isn't she? Yeah. She can draw.
I'm really bad because...
Which means, Ali, that when we've got lessons, where we need somebody who can draw, we can, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Because I can't draw, I don't know, but can you draw, Ali? Not like this.
No. Maybe if
No, I can't either, mate.
That's in her mind. This is in her mind.
Absolutely.
I'm making my pieces look pretty.
But you see, I mean, you know this. How many other students, when you do something like this, you think, wow, you can really draw? So it's about doing different things so they can demonstrate something they're good at.
Yeah.
Because some of them can draw fantastic.
Yes, I have an architect student with me last semester, really talented. And another girl that also did we had to do tutorials to explain modal verbs. And she did how to draw like a cartoon, which is very good also. Yeah.
One of Nancy's groups that she gave to me, she was really, really busy at Christmas time. I realised people who said industrial engineers, it was clear the only way they were learning by making things.
Really?
So there's an activity where if you give them some spaghetti, give them some glue, and give them some 4 little things, they have to make a freestanding tower.
Oh.
They loved it.
Nice.
But the thing was, they could make it
Yeah.
from start to finish in just a few years that they learned to look in English. It was absolutely mad, but they did it. So it's just finding it, isn't it?
So make a list. Picture.
Johan's favorite teacher.
Acá es cualidades y aquí es skills, ¿no?
It is that way, isn't it?
So,
Cualidades que ella was friendly. Friendly.
good friends.
Yeah.
Friends.
Very, ¿cómo se dice justa? Very just, very good-hearted. No sé, pero sí eso está en lo mismo. She was patient, paciente. I don't know, caring. Caring, como que le cuidaba. Caring, como que menos, porque también puede ser como más en familia.
Sería caring. Se traduce igual.
Sea de bien.
curious.
But thank you, Javier, because that makes my day.
When someone you can trust, a person is trusted
Trustworthy,
or reliable.
reliable, yeah.
Reliable.
The other thing about it as well, well, if you inspire people, that's something else that's infectious. It just spreads.
She was positive.
There.
You can say both, loving or caring. Both are the same.
Loving is much more specific to that particular person.
Well, a teacher is always looking after.
But I think it's a good word to use. I think you should love your students.
We put caring.
Caring.
Yeah, caring. Yeah. Some people would say loving is a bit more much, but if you put loving, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, she was my high school, no, my elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
So inspirational would be a word, yeah,
Yeah,
quality.
inspirational, that's a quality, yeah. And it's a bit like enthusiasm, we've just been talking about it. If you're inspiring, it's infectious.
That's true.
I know that he knows this, but once or twice when I've wanted to enthuse people, I enthuse him, because then he enthuses other people.
It's a chain.
Yeah.
Huh?
It spreads.
So I guess inspirational.
Yeah.
Inspirational.
Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah, it is. I it is. Okay. No. Esas palabras así.
Inspirational. Anything else?
Skills sería, no sé qué, no me ocurre las skills. No sé qué poner como skills. Como, a ver,
When
skills.
someone, for example, talks, good eye contact. This is a point. No, that's a skill. Because not many people get skill from her. So she has a good eye contact. Easy
I'm not sure if that's a
talking.
quality.
Easy talking.
Okay, so.
For someone like you, has a good eye contact. That person is easy to yeah, for someone who will speak fully with a good eye contact, like you will.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing you could say is, but what your eye contact does is confirm okay. So if I'm speaking to you and you're distracted by Anya, I can tell you. Okay, so it's about engagement.
That would be
Very important.
Would that be a quality or a skill?
Engagement.
Well, there are skills that you can use to engage people, but a quality that engages people is eye contact. Because it's very difficult if somebody really focuses your eyes to look away.
Good speaker.
We don't, I'm trying to remember skills.
Good communicator, yeah, because part of communication is not just vocal, it's your body language, so it's communication.
Good communicator would be a skill, I guess.
Esto es algunas.
Intelligence.
Okay. Yeah.
Organized.
responsible.
Too much,
Yeah. Motivated.
I was wondering.
So, I don't know. Mirando o dibujando?
Okay.
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of pictures.
Okay,
Okay.
nice.
Okay. Entonces, skills se me quedó corto. Este es el mío. El hace todo tiempo. Skills.
Puede ser, por ejemplo, ¿cómo queda? Well organized. Quality or skill.
I think it's a quality. Be organized. I'm
So, skills.
not sure.
Communicated.
I think either motivator, a skill, no, to influence is a skill. I think that I wasn't flowers. I'm kind of don't know where to go with the skills.
Okay. Well, let's do it together then. What sort of skills does a teacher need to have? They need to have skills of communication. What else have we talked about this week?
So the motivator,
Right, okay, so
would that be a skill?
absolutely skills.
Easily based.
Yeah, so skills and motivation. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, skills in classroom management, skills in selecting correct material, skills in planning courses. Think about
Planning.
Think about all the things that you do. Yeah, planning skills, motivational skills.
But you can say good planner.
Yeah.
Right.
Communicator. Vamos a gather, good communicator.
Okay. Planner, motivator.
Planner, motivator, skills in motivation, skills in planning, skills in where do you get the materials from? Skills in research, because obviously you have to go onto the internet to look for material.
Researcher.
Skills in research.
Thanks.
What about this one you're doing now?
No, good. So,
Okay.
you know,
Right.
this helps students use the different types of activities.
Okay, so visual skills, right? Because you know,
Okay. That my teacher was, yes, I would say visual skills.
there you go. There you go.
Alright. Andrés, hola. Ya dejé mi informe de septiembre con Marcela y una factura escrita y también copia color y carpeta manil. Sí, todo está con ella. El recreo y el visual.
No. It's a district in
Ajá.
Liverpool.
¿Y usted? Bien.
It's like
Como
a
Soledad
whole
también.
city's like and it's
Chévere. Y están haciendo el doctorado en medicina.
Liverpool.
Ok.
District is a football ground.
Yo tengo mi obligación de
So if you walk past it, there's no limit and there's no minimum, don't worry about it.
también, no sé. Es mucho, sí, es que la verdad es que yo también no estoy tan segura de lo que hago, pero
De pronto, otro maestro, si te gusta.
no, ya tengo dos, o sea, sí,
La tienes.
sí, la doctorado sí lo voy a hacer, pero sí he estado como que muy, no tan seguro de hacerlo, porque sí es como mucho...
Usted, porque no lo había visto antes, usted que estaba hace poco en otro país.
Sí, estuve en España haciendo mi maestría también. Ajá, estaba en Buenos Aires también antes de eso. Entonces estuve en la Facultad de Comunicación. Entonces, ¿qué les ponemos de skills? Sí, no, la Facultad de Comunicación era mi idea, pero tampoco están cerrando carreras ahorita. Sí. Pero, o sea, la verdad, entonces dicen que van a poner como
Ahora estoy viviendo en Mafia pero inicialmente porque estaba en España, estoy viviendo bajo de del país. Prior tuviste las conversaciones,
Así
en Canadá, bien, muy bien.
nadie lo presentó.
Pero como está todo última hora, la verdad es que yo iría por ahora, porque es como que sí, por ahora, pero bueno, hay que
Mira
ver.
que posiblemente carga.
Ah, ya. Ah, ¿usted tiene familia en Chile?
Bueno, un tío que es médico, pero no es médico, no tengo mucho acercamiento. Tal vez voy donde un profesor, exalumno, si el profe venga, que aquí está su casa.
Ah, ya.
Para no venir todo el día.
Sí.
Como dices tú, voy a tomar el día.
Claro. Ahorita a estas alturas.
Vamos a ver qué pasa.
Tampoco está exactamente encontrado.
Había una discusión. Que muchos los conservan hasta terminar el periodo. Y si los mayas lo abrían, no presentan el certificado de logros, se quedan con el centro. Pero no considero que parece que no han decidido que no van a decir. Quizá que ahí no solamente considero como que sea
No, porque deberían de ser distintos. No sé qué otros skills poner. People's emotional intelligence. Voy a poner emotional intelligence. Managing skills. Classroom skills. Class skills. No sé. Más. Ethical.
Very good.
Okay.
Ethical on the quality side, well done you.
Where should I put ethical? Is it quality?
Yeah. Very good. Well done.
Okay. Okay. Se quedó ahora. Okay. Creo que la hice más guapa a la profesora, pero bueno. En realidad yo tenía el pelo así.
¿De dónde?
Sí.
¿Dónde estudiaste?
Fue una escuela cristiana que tuve clases. Sí, tuve 10 años. Voy a dejarle el marcador y el rojo.
Okay, so
Have we finished? Few more minutes? Okay. 5 more minutes then.
Oh, Andrew.
Andrés. ¿Puedo firmar las hojas del día?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. They're waving at you.
But I can't hear them. Can you speak at all? Can you speak?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Good stuff. How are you?
We can hear you. So what are we supposed to do?
Well, the thing is, I came back to you for feedback at the last part of the session before break, and none of you were there. I came back to you twice inside 15 minutes. I'm not being critical because this is difficult for all of us, but I did come back to you, but you weren't there.
Okay. Go ahead.
But listen, while they're finishing this next activity, what questions do you want to ask me about this morning?
You have questions? Any questions? So we got no questions for now.
No questions?
We are still trying to analyze the different situations. For now, we don't have any questions for now.
What's he saying, Jimmy? Do you know?
Say again?
I said for now, we don't have questions for now because we are still trying to analyze the situations.
So what's he saying?
They don't have any questions.
For now, they don't have any questions, I think.
Because we are trying to analyze the situations. We are still analyzing the situations. So right now we don't have questions for you for now.
Okay.
Maybe later.
Okay, thank you. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the qualities and skills of the worker. So ask me if you need anything.
Exactly.
Are we finished? Right, okay. Now, the next stage is what we need to do is with some sellotape, which Michael has got here, is you need to put your perfect teachers or effective teachers around the room. Don't worry, we're going to take them with us, but for now, find a space for you to put your teachers on the wall. Now, come this side, come down here for a minute, okay? Once you put them on the wall, come down here so you need to see me. Once we put them on the wall, very, very good, okay? What we do is one person in your group stays with the picture and explains what you've written. So when you put the picture on the wall, one person in your group stays, okay, and explains what you've written. The other two circulate around the other pictures. And then after a while, okay, you can change and let the other person circulate and somebody else explains. Got me? Yes. All right, okay. So, Carlos puts his picture here, for example. Carlos and Juan walk round the room. Javier stays here and explains. And then you change. All right. Now, okay, tell me what, my friends,
Tell me what a fixed expression is in English. What's a fixed, Javier, what's a fixed expression in English? What do we mean by a fixed expression? Fixed. What is a fixed expression in English? You need to do this when you're teaching B1 and B2. What is a fixed expression in English?
What is that?
Absolutely. The word suggests exactly what it is. It does not change. Okay, so for example, think of a fixed expression, something that we use in English that doesn't change. Some very obvious ones.
Like phrases.
Go on, for example. Come on.
Couple words.
Yeah, come on would be a fixed expression, yes. It's not the strongest one. Okay. What
Good
do you
job. Good job.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you say when people walk in the morning?
Good morning.
How are you is a fixed expression. Yes, it's made up of how, question word, are the verb, and you as a pronoun, but it is a fixed expression. Fixed expressions are expressions that we use all the time that do not change, and everybody understands their meaning. So, okay, how are you is one. All right, okay. Any other ones?
Have a nice week.
Good job. Very good.
Have a nice week. Or have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend. Yeah. That's a word. Okay.
Have a good time.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. There we go. That's a fixed expression. Okay. Happy Christmas. Okay. Piece of cake. That's a fixed expression. Now, okay, what's the difference between a fixed expression and an idiom? Because that is an idiom.
It's something abstract, an idiom.
Okay, the difference between a fixed expression and an idiom is, okay, the only difference is when you take the words out of an idiom, they don't make any sense at all.
Right.
So, for example, over the moon. What does over the moon mean? Over the moon means you feel fantastic. How are you feeling, Mick? Over the moon. Well, what a ridiculous expression. How can you jump over the moon? All right, okay. So an idiom gives the same function as a fixed expression because it's something that we all recognise and know the meaning of. The difference is when you take the words out of an idiom, they don't make any sense whatsoever. Here's another one. Blue moon. All right, what does blue moon mean? Yeah, it can mean sadness. Well, again, it's an idiom because I've never seen a blue moon. Have you? Only this one. All right. Okay. So remember, fixed expressions are words that are put together that have a universal meaning and make sense individually. The difference between that and an idiom is the words do not make sense. It's no. Break a leg.
Break a leg.
Break a leg.
Right.
Piece of cake. What does a piece of cake mean? It means it's easy. But if you took piece and cake out, how could you ever think that means easy? It's the combination of
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day. That fixed expression or idiom. At the end of the day.
As a summarize.
Yeah, but is it a fixed expression or an idiom?
Fixed expression.
Fixed, because it makes sense individually. A piece of metal. A piece of metal. Not sure whether that's a fixed expression, but it would be nearer to fixed because it makes sense, yeah. Okay, so this one. Man your station. Fixed expression or idiom? Man your station. Fixed expression or an idiom? Some are saying idiom. It's an idiom because it doesn't make any sense if you split it up. What man your station means is exactly what you're doing now. One of us stays and explains. You are manning, and this is your station. Right. So when people say man your station, it means go and do your job. All right. Okay. You're here for fire services and police services. So let's circulate them and ask each other about these beautiful drawings. After you grab it. Well, you decide. One person stays, the other two people circulate them and explain.
You do, yeah.
Okay, so one of you stays and mans the station, the others circulate.
Welcome to my station.
Okay, man your stations and explain.
So I guess I'll explain.
So one person stays and the other people circulate. Come on, come on, come on.
This is my picture of Graciela Palma from when I was in elementary school. Really? I think I made her like a model.
What a nice picture, what a nice girl.
So she was, I had her for 2 years in a row. And she was our like demo teacher and our math teacher.
What you're
And she was
talking
her I
about,
loved
okay.
math.
Hold on a second, sorry about this, but this is English and it's really important. Eduardo. Right, okay. Remember there is a third one, collocations. What's a collocation?
Words that follow another one, usually.
Yeah, words that go together. Bad day. Yeah. Hard task. Hard girl.
No, it's still the same.
Okay, so it's words that often go together. Happy birthday can be both a fixed expression and a collocation. Sunny day. I'll be back would be a fixed expression. So yeah, certainly since Arnie used it anyway, everybody used it.
Hasta la vista, baby.
So fixed expression.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, it's fixed expression because it makes sense, yeah. Okay, so
Schwarzenegger.
Make my day.
Make my day. Fixed expression, idioma, or collocation?
Idioma?
Make my day.
No.
Fixed expression,
Expression.
idioma. I think it's a fixed expression, but you know, it doesn't matter too much if they get the titles mixed up. It's the idea. Words that stick together, we often use collocations. Idioms that make no sense out of context. Fixed expression, we all know what that means. As long as they know what it means, they get the title wrong.
Excuse me, American people say lots of expression. How do you say in American
We may.
colloquial? Colloquial.
Right, has everybody been round these different things? Have you looked at all the different pictures and explained what people, come on, let's go around these things.
So as I
You
was
need to
saying,
explain to people and you also need to go and look at other people's
as I was saying, she was very friendly.
Let's go
but
one by one.
But you have to listen to her.
Yeah, but there's that one first, then this one.
Why? You can start you and then you can get
Circulate and explain.
Graciela
Come on.
Palma was my teacher in elementary school. I had her for 2 years, and she was my math general.
Whose picture
She was
is
very
this?
friendly, patient,
Whose
caring,
picture is
reliable,
this? Is this your
positive,
picture?
inspirational,
All right. Somebody needs to
intelligent,
explain
organized,
it.
responsible,
But first,
motivated,
this one
and
first.
ethical.
All right, okay.
And then we go around.
And we found that her skills were to be a good communicator, she was a good planner, a good motivator for the rest of the class.
Come on.
She did her research well, and the resources she used. She had good visual skills, and she had, above all, emotional intelligence, which I think is very important as a teacher. Because that really, you're dealing with people. You have to be a people's person, which we didn't write it here, but that would be a quality or a skill, a people's person.
A people person.
Yeah.
Quality.
Yes. So this is something that I think in psychology, to have that emotional intelligence is important. And then, as we know, you have to manage. For us, for me, she was good at managing classrooms.
you got it right, because qualities and skills are so very, very close.
Yes.
Well done, mate.
Motivated.
Yeah, exactly. Or for instance, the one where she was just talking about managing classroom skills. Well, part of that is being organised, isn't it?
Yes.
So, you know, and clearly she's had an impression on you because she's inspirational. Well, what's the skill of inspiration? Well, it isn't a skill of it, it's quality. But how do you inspire people is skillful, because you have to think about what you need to do. So it's very good.
Skill means capacity, ability.
During my school
A skill means the thing that you use to operationalise or to activate what you want to do.
Using your ability.
Well, ability and skill is very close. I am able to teach because I have skills in classroom
Yo creo que
management.
uno se queda aquí y otro va, no sé.
Okay, this is your opportunity to get some benefit from some of these teachers.
You should be with us
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah, I'll come with you. Yeah.
Come with us,
Okay, let's
please.
listen to them.
Right.
Oh, look.
Can I ask you,
Everton.
because that is the badge. Let me just explain something to you, okay? In 1878, okay, so in 1880, the first football league in the world was formed from England. The very first football league. There were 12 teams in it, so only 12. We were one of them. One of the oldest football clubs in the world. Yeah, that's the thing. The oldest football. Yeah. And do you know what?
I hadn't seen that, mate. Excellent. So one of the oldest football leagues in
Nice. I'm a artist.
yeah, come on.
The creator.
Okay, one,
The creator of the
two,
creation.
three. Nice.
The inventor of the invention.
Oh, you got your picture taken?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did, yeah, really
What's the-
good. The detail.
What's the part you like the most?
Because
The badge.
the teacher we have, can
I know.
But yeah, one of the 10th oldest clubs in the world. Fantastic. We're 2 kilometres from the Liverpool ground, but you can't walk past Liverpool ground. If you walk past Liverpool ground, you get skin infection, rat head, stuff that you say.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
all sorts of things, yeah.
soccer or rugby?
Football.
I want football.
One less point. One less point.
Yeah.
Americans say soccer.
Do you agree with the qualities? Are the same?
Yeah, I think so.
Friendliness is the opposite of friendly?
No.
No?
One of the beauties for a teacher and doing these courses, one of the advantages of doing these courses for me, in my experience, is that you can change these skills to put in things that you think are very important. Sometimes. So I've done different things with this than I did, for instance, in Barcelona. One of the things I've included in your course, particularly because I think it's really important, is this. And there's something called empathic understanding, which they use in other courses like counselling and social work. And I think we should be teaching social using that. This is very, very important. If you can put yourself in the shoes of somebody else, it makes your ability to understand much, much better. Thank you very much, especially for the badge. In fact, let me get a picture on my phone and you can send it to your sister.
Right.
And she will love that. Right, here we go then.
Right, where's me artist?
That's Jimmy.
We're the creator. We're the creator.
That was smile, but that guy there smile. Mick, you're supposed to smile.
Esta es la hoja. Ya firmó el
What a
profesor.
nice smile. What a nice picture. Please allow to the graph, please.
Look at that, look at that.
Acabaron también allá para la hojita de...
My nephew will be able to see the editing badge.
Okay, no, I'll take it, just, you know.
Here's the.
Es verdad que nos mandaron trato de tiempo completo.
Has everybody seen this one over here?
No, let's go.
Let's go over there and do that one.
Okay.
Excellent,
Aye.
thank you. Right, let's send this to my sister then. So she can see it. She can see what her mad brother's doing in South America. I need a gallery, that's what I need.
Here we address Valerius.
It's a beauty of a picture, that is, isn't it?
Value
Very pretty, isn't
and
it?
skills, maybe what we're expecting from the teacher.
Sorry?
So we have it in control, people like, I think people like, it's a very important one because you always are requesting respect from your students. And when you say respect, you mean the student also needs, must be.
Yeah, send me that one, yeah.
The student must respect the rules of the classroom. And of course, if you are requesting respect from your student, you are supposed to be respectful. That's why we put polite. So be happy because the students need to feel that you like what you do. So if the students can recognize that you're doing their job just because you need the money or because you need to do something in your life, so they will feel it. So they won't see as a real thing. So that's why you need to be happy in order to share that happiness also with people, students. Be responsible. So we also think it's important because we're always sending homework to our students and we always encourage them to be better. And we cannot do that if we do the opposite. So we also need to be responsible. I mean, to be the model that they are going to follow. Be organized and to be passionate. Passionate, I think, is not only related to the job, it has to be related to in all the aspects in our lives. Everything that you do, you have to do it by heart. I mean, because you really, really want it. And then the skills that you expect from the teacher. I mean, you expect that your teacher has to good pronunciation, and it doesn't mean that. I mean, many people can have good pronunciation. It doesn't mean that they are going to be good teachers. But anyway, the students need to have a model in front. And if you're a teacher with a good pronunciation, the student might want to be like you. I mean, in speaking, pronunciation, and talkative. Talkative allows you to be an open door for your students to ask you questions or to tell you about something related to the class. Confident, because the teacher must be sure about what he's teaching or she's teaching. A leadership, like, I don't know if you are religious or Catholic or whatever, but the ones that we believe in God, we know that, I mean, He taught us that we always need someone in front to follow. So the teacher here in the classroom is a person that the student needs to follow in order to reach the goal.
empower, and of course to be a motivator. The last one, here at the university, I think it's mainly important because if you start with 25 students and at the end of the semester you end with 10 students because you haven't been a good motivator. So it's important to give that in your class motivation. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so now we've done all of them. Yeah, really, really good. What thoughts or questions does anybody have? Or any comments anybody wants to share?
Oh, I need you to pay attention here. So there was a mistake, but the mistake was not like erase it totally, because I wanted to say something about this. It's important the teacher show the students that as a teacher will also do mistakes. So they will see you not as a perfect person, they will see you as a person who also make mistakes. So they will feel more confident to tell you about their mistakes because they know that you will understand.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
as a suggestion is that, for example, if you're in a classroom and a student asks you what is the meaning or the translation of a word that you don't know, don't be embarrassed, be honest, and tell them that you don't know, and look up in a dictionary. Never invent a word just because you want your students to look at you as a perfect thing, a person in English. So be honest. They will appreciate if you're honest.
And also, I think it's a really, really important point. But it also supports you in the work you're trying to do when particularly a context like manipulation, where there's such an obsession with marks and notice, okay, not just in MD, but every general and so that actually we lose sight that it's about learning. And we can easily get ourselves into that situation where people are absolutely terrified of making mistakes. Whereas it presents a more realistic concept of what learning is all about, because how do you learn to get something right if you don't know about getting it wrong? Right, so I think it's very, very important, because if you can present yourself as somebody that isn't Superman, and it's okay to not know something, because what you're going to do is go and find it out, then it makes it easier for your students to accept what you're saying. Look, you know, this isn't about assessment, it's about learning, so don't worry if you make a mistake. So I think it's very important to model the students in MB, because as far as they're concerned, they don't have the room to make a mistake. They make a mistake, it reflects in their notice, or if they make a mistake, the teacher picks a look about it. Right? How can you go forward without making mistakes? I never forget this. I worked in drug rehabilitation for a long time, okay, with heroin users. And one of the things about rehabilitation programs is exactly what we were talking about. If they don't understand that they can make a mistake in those types of situations, it can be critical to the point of death. You're recovering from heroin, okay, and you make a mistake and you relapse. How that's handled is absolutely crucial. If you handle it in a way that, what are you doing? You've made a mistake. Can you imagine the psychological people die as a result of it? They think, okay, I can't do this, and kill themselves. So it's incredibly important that when you talk to people in that situation, you say to them, it's going to be like this. You will have lapses. Well, that's no different than learning. Learning is very, very difficult. And you only know when you're going forward when you get things right as a result of getting them wrong. So it's encourage them to make mistakes. Very good. Anything else? Well, Andy, you missed it. I said it this morning, but I'll say it to you because you're one of the best people that have made a difference in this group. The work that you've done this week has been fantastic. It's been really, really, really good. You are a credit back to the department. And thank you so much, because you proved the point for us. That training and development, great stuff, thank you very much. Training and development is the answer. All right, discipline, managing, controlling teachers is not the answer. Look what you've done, because you want to be good teachers. That's the way to encourage people. Train and development. Excellent.
Look at camera. Say,
Excellent. Very good.
Go ahead. No, they are working. They are working on that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Qualities and skills.
This is a good activity. Any questions about qualities and skills?
No. No, we don't. If you have questions on policies and skills. But you can explain a lot of things. No, he saw everything. It's clear.
Christopher wants to explain every single quality and skill. Is it possible to make?
Say again.
Do you need any explanations on our picture or drawing?
Do you need any explanation about our drawing?
Okay, right. Explain your drawing then, yeah? Just list the qualities and skills.
Do you want to hear the skills and the qualities?
Yes, and the qualities.
Okay, read the qualities.
Skills and
On the qualities we talked about, as you can see from the picture or from the drawing, the qualities we talked about the friendliness of the teacher. Are we there?
Yeah, great.
Okay, talk about, all right. Now, secondly, talk about the teacher being communicative with his or her students.
Yeah.
That's two. Another is being creative with the management of the class or your students. Four, we talked about the teacher being soft-spoken, not having a very harsh voice.
Soft-spoken.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
Then we also looked at the issue of the teacher being caring for the needs of his or her students.
Great.
And we have the issue of being presentable, having good appearance, looking good while at work or in class. And finally, being direct with his or her students, so they know when he or she is serious or joking.
All right. Okay, so you need to.
Yeah, that's what we have with regards to qualities.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah. Now we expect questions from you. Any questions?
What's he saying?
Any questions?
Could you give me some examples of qualities?
You mean two examples?
Skills, sorry.
Okay, now the skills.
Okay. On the skills, we looked at the issue of having good control of the English language. Secondly, Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Under skills, we looked at the issue of having a good command or control of the language the teacher is teaching. Secondly, secondly, we looked at the issue of being innovative in class. That's the ability to come up with new things and move on with the trend.
Could you repeat that? Could you repeat the last one? Repeat it.
Okay, the last one I said is the ability of being innovative.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Well dynamic and objective.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, these are the skills we have here.
That's it, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
That's all.
Okay. What we're going to do now is I'm going to bring the session together and mention some qualities and skills that maybe you've not covered, yeah? Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
But before we do it, I don't know whether you heard what I said earlier, which was a huge compliment to you for the work that you've done this week, for the attitude and the engagement. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. Thank you very much. Did you hear me? Thank you very much. Yeah. Got it. Excellent. Okay. Right. So let's bring this all together. One of the things that was mentioned in there, and we will come back to it because it's an issue that comes up, and I know it's a sensitive issue, and I know that with all organisations and institutions, sometimes that's used in a particularly negative and destructive way. But my advice to you is, I think it must be extremely difficult to teach English if you can't speak it. It must be incredibly, incredibly difficult. So for those people who are having a bit of a challenge with their own personal levels of English, please try and do something about it for two reasons. One, I can't believe how scary it could be to be teaching a subject that you don't know. It must be really horrible, and it must be really scary and annoying at times. So I feel for you as a fellow human being. The second, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to spell this out. I really do think it's need spelling out. We were talking about it yesterday when we said, surely the situation we want to be in is when somebody goes home to Monte Cristi and their granddad says, how's your English, lads? And they say, fabulous, but we spent 20 minutes trying to sort the building out. The situation we want is for that uncle to ring and say, why aren't these things organised correctly so my son gets 2 hours of the education he deserves? Now, he deserves it simply because of this. And I don't lose sight of this, and I'm afraid I think we get lost sight of everything. Your salaries, this building, his computer, and all of this is paid for by what? Everyone. How? Taxes. Right. So you have an obligation to spend your 2 hours teaching, because that's what you get paid for. Not 20 minutes sorting out a piece of problem or somebody else's problem. The second thing I want to add to you is, our culture here, 3 or 4 people came up to me during the last 3 days and supported me over this. Thank you very much. It is fairly obvious. All right, okay. The fairly obvious thing about it is this, okay. You are here to deliver teaching. If there's been a problem way up, for instance, about how these courses are organised at filming, don't do what's happened to me this week and happens again and again here, is the problem gets passed and passed and passed and passed until it lands with a person who can't do anything about it because it's itching. All right? Get everybody else around you, including your directors, and you to take responsibility for your actions. Don't just pass the problem down to somebody else. Really, really, really important. Including your own personal levels of English. If you're worried about your personal levels of English and your capacity to teach, whether you do it in the university, with your colleagues, with your friends, with your family, or whatever, my advice to you is do something about it, because it won't get better. It will get worse. Fine.
I was thinking about the speech. Can you tell me please the skills or abilities when we teach English, when the textbooks come to the instruction, for example, we are going to teach the student skills about grammar, reading, writing, and speaking. They are considered skills.
Reading skills, yeah, absolutely.
Reading, for example, writing.
Absolutely. Let me just give you a bit. I mean, you all know this, but we're running out of time, so I'm going to go a little bit faster. So I'm not going to get you to tell me. Or have we got time? Yeah, we've got time. Okay. Tell me your reading skill.
For example, the reincarnation, tell the short story or paragraph, and then you have to write the main idea.
Brilliant. Okay. So there is a reading skill. How do you locate a main idea? So yeah, absolutely. What you need to do here, and not too many of us have picked it up because that's good, it's instinctive. You know that you have the skill. And for me, it's really positive that you've not put skills in teaching reading skills, or teaching writing skills, or teaching speaking skills, because automatically you think that's what you should be doing, so you've not written it down. So well done you. See what I mean? Some teachers could look at this and say, why didn't you put reading skills on it? Yes. A positive teacher says, well actually the reason why you've not mentioned it is that you know automatically you have to do it. So actually very positive. Yes, it is a reading skill. How to construct a paragraph. How to pronounce the word comfortable. There's one for you. Yeah. Because in Spanish you go compatible. Okay, so they are all skills.
Another question is, quality is the same or the values?
No, qualities are not the same as values. What's the difference between values and qualities? They have a link, an interdependency, but they're not that close. What's the difference between values and qualities? There is a difference. Absolutely. The values are more to do with ethics, are more to do with your moral frameworks, are more to do with beliefs, yeah, or are to do with your principles. Okay? Qualities are to do with you as an individual. So you could be somebody like me who's extremely demanding. He will tell you, I'm extremely demanding of my students. In the first 2 or 3 weeks, I would imagine 80% of them can't stand the sight of me. Alright? But by week 16, it's a different kettle of fish. There you go, look. How's that? Kettle of fish. An idiom. Sorry, a metaphor. A kettle of fish. Kettle is a very, very old thing to put things in, like a saucepan. Yeah, a kettle is very. Now it's modern. It's the thing that we use to boil water to have a cocktail. But a kettle of fish is a big reciprocal fish. Yeah. And the expression means, well, that's a different. About values, I would say they are close, but in lots of ways they are a different kettle of fish. In other words, something very different. Okay. So, for instance, you can be a very, very demanding teacher, such as me. Very unpopular at the beginning of courses, very popular at the end. You can be really demanding, so it's a very strong, dominant quality. But, okay, at the same time, you can be skilled enough to be empathetic with somebody who's having a difficult time. So, okay, so there's the quality and skill. The value, which suggests that you should be strong, demanding, but empathetic, is about equality. So the thing that drives me to be that sort of teacher is my values around equality. And I think sometimes we have to treat people differently to treat them equally. You understand? Sometimes you have to treat people differently so that you treat them equally.
Depending on his perspective.
Absolutely. Because if I know Jimmy, all right, has an issue around modal verbs, for example, I need to treat him differently so that he can have the same level of understanding with everybody else. This idea that what you have to do is treat everybody the same is not only ridiculous, but it's cost all of us somewhere around, in the last 5 months, $150,000. I'll repeat that. This idea that you treat everybody the same, all right, okay, as a way of having equal opportunities is ridiculous, and it's cost us all $150,000 in the last 5 months. Because, with respect, as a professional, I'm not the same as Jacob. So why would you be the same? There's a difference in our experience. No disrespect, I'm just taking you through this. Okay, our academic profile. I'm fortunate to be a native English speaker with a master's, with a Cambridge speaking exam, So hopefully the university would want more of me to raise the quality. So why would they treat me the same as somebody who, with respect, isn't a native English speaker, doesn't speak English too well, and hasn't got the experience? So it's very important that sometimes you treat people differently so that actually you treat them equally. That's the difference between a value and a quality and skill.
What do you consider the most important value that a teacher must?
A value or a quality or a skill?
Value.
A value?
A value.
Okay. The drive to change. Drive to change. It is the well, Alejandro knows me a little bit better because we spent some time social, but nobody knows me that particularly. So I am here because I want to be here. I don't have to be here. Some of you may know, and you can look at the CV. If you want to look at the CV, you go to Human Resources and say, "It's the division." Everything that I've got is open. I left the job where I was earning in dollar terms around $60,000 a year in 2008. So I've come here because I want to make a difference. And so therefore for me, the biggest thing, the biggest value is if you would want to support people in change. I'm going to start an organisation here, and I may well call it English and Change. Because that's what I want to see. I want to see it better. I want us to have better rooms, better resources, better teaching methodologies, better teaching skills. Because I want Ecuadorian students to go out on the world market and compete. I don't want them to go out and compete and they can't compete because we give them a shitty teaching experience. So that's what drives me on. And it is a big drive because I don't want you to feel sorry for me. You can imagine what it's like being Manta, okay, in this institution, trying to change it when you haven't got a family network and not many friends around. It's really hard work. He knows how to set up it. But no matter what happens, I'm here to try and make a difference. And look at this. Through you, I'm making a difference to 1,000 student lives next year. Well, to be honest with you, I won't because I live it. I could go home tomorrow afternoon back to the UK because I still don't want to do it. And you helped me do it, and I'll never forget the fact that you helped me do it. Bless you. So, that's about principles, values, and qualities and skills. They're very, very close, and they what make you up. That's where they are. Any other questions?
We haven't heard that one, or I haven't.
All right, do you want to take us through then?
It's not mine, no, mine is the other one.
Mr. Carlos, please explain that people, Mr. Carlos. Bye, Carlos.
Come on, Carlos.
Oh, come on, Carlos. You can do it, Carlos.
You can do it.
You know what? I don't really have.
That's
right. I would take those legs and put it on mine.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, be aware that once you start doing these with students and everything, that's the sort of things that include, yeah. Can we have Carlos's legs on our drawing? Yeah, all right.
Well,
there we go.
My friend and fellow teacher, Mike Perez, draw a teacher that looks like a beetle, I think. One of the, it looks like Ringo Starr, I think, a little bit. So, okay, apparently it's also our teacher here, Mick. We did a different jersey for the Everton thing, and I'm here on the rest of the Everton team.
Everton team.
Forever. He put Manchester before.
Who did?
Excuse me, sorry. At the beginning, I was thinking in Manchester.
Some of you got some real low marks, haven't you? Yeah. Why did you fail your English course with me? Was it to do with your techniques around qualities? No, it's because I mentioned Manchester.
I like the soccer team, Manchester United.
Here, one second. Okay.
Look ahead.
Okay, got it.
We got
I
it.
said soccer and I said Manchester.
Yeah.
So, okay, among the qualities, I believe on this side we put like optimist, friendly, hardworking, patient, polite, confident, and kind. We were thinking about all these things, but I think we didn't have enough time to put everything
Brilliant.
But I think they're quite good.
You certainly need to be one of these working here, don't you? An optimist. Yeah.
Yeah. Here in the Uleam.
Yeah, 8:30 in the morning. Your favourite saying is, "It can only get better." Right. Okay.
They're
So.
paying tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're probably paying tomorrow.
Right.
And you know.
Right.
Among the skills, we have communicative, team player, because we think it's important to teachers try to, like you said one day, like try to stick together, you know, and try to make things better for the department and the university anyway. So,
Yeah.
So we believe being a team player is also important, and share experiences while teaching with people who doesn't teach, for example, me. So also a good listener. That's about knowing the people who you're working with. Organized, because many people said organized before. Have leadership, and being imaginative was also one of the skills we used. So that was pretty much it about our drawing. I don't know if
Any questions? Good stuff, Carlos. Good. And your group.
I was thinking, it says like imaginative, like a beetle. I really think it's a beetle.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, so let's draw it round, because obviously we're going to leave sort of 10 to 15 minutes early because we had 10 to 15 minutes of our break. I think what you put down there in terms of skills and qualities, I don't think there's too many to add to. A couple of things that I would say to you, particularly in English foreign language, because you are a foreigner, they often want to know lots about you. I don't think that's such a big issue for you when you're teaching in the country you're from. But as an Ecuadorian to arrive in Liverpool, believe me, they will want to know everything about you. You know, they spend a good percentage of every class asking questions about Liverpool, Manchester, London, football, whatever. So in English as a foreign language, it's a little bit different. You have to be a mixture of you and the teacher, because they want to know about you. But that's more when you're teaching abroad. Okay. I think you're absolutely right. Adaptability, flexibility, respectfulness, being fair. Okay. being patient, imaginative, competent, interested. All of the things you're saying are really, really important. Two that I would add to you, okay? One is very emotionally based, one is very thinking based. So I picked one from both. The emotional based one is the stuff that we're going to do around empathy, okay? I'm going to do something with you that's not usually in English as a foreign language course, but I try to pick in better things to make them straight. It's around empathic understanding, and I'm going to help you to understand that and use it. Okay, so that's the first thing. Empathy. Incredibly important, and I think my star here, put it down here, didn't you? Empathy?
I didn't.
Where somebody's got an empathy somewhere.
Right here.
Ah, very, very good. Jimmy Bellett's group, fantastic. Empathy, very, very important. Okay, the second thing I would say to you about emotional stuff is passion. If you don't have a passion for this, I can't imagine how miserable you could possibly be. Because this is a really, really difficult job. And unless you've got that passion, it can be a very horrible experience. So it's about making things better for other people. And then the final one, which gets very little attention in teaching in South America, but it is changing. Teacher training courses are being changed to include it. It is, however, an integral part of practice in community work in the UK, and now it's part of practice in the UK, Europe, and the States in terms of courses like social work and teaching. And it's this. So, if you came home to my house now and you looked at what my objectives are for English teachers in Humana B, they are not about quality skills and all that stuff. They are about supporting the development of what I consider what people call reflective practitioners. I think, okay, that's the point at which we need to lead today's session, because it isn't something that gets a lot of attention. I don't think it's built into many teacher training courses in Ecuador, but they are changing it, and that's generally across South America. And in some ways, it's being forced out in the agenda in Europe and North America, because this needs to change. And you only have to look at people like Donald Trump to understand that a lot of people don't want the world to change, because they're doing very well out of it. And if you reflect, it's likely you will want change. So that's why this isn't so popular. But there's a lot of organisations that are still going with it. What it means is basically this. Alejandro will tell you that lesson planning for me is not too difficult, because I have every single lesson I have ever taught in English, sociology, social theory, okay, on computer. The very best thing that somebody did when I started working with communities in 1981 was to say to me, do not write your lessons or your plans or your activities, type them and keep them. And I thought it was a nightmare starting off as community worker at the age of 23, 24. However do I have to find the time to actually put these on computers, especially when computers were so shitty at that time, right? Okay, but I'm really glad they did it. And I'm really glad I did it.
So you say every...
Yeah. But you know this because you've been with me when we've done it. So I go home to my computer, okay, they're all in levels. So I go to pre-intermediate 1, and I know in the intermediate 1 they teach the first conditional. I open my computer for that lesson plan, and I draw that lesson plan off. On that lesson plan, it has 3 things that I think I could have done better, that I think I should do again, or that I should change. So, when I pull that lesson plan off, I look at the 3 things that I wrote down after I taught it the last time. And those are my 3 areas for improving it. I teach it again. At the end of the lesson, I think of 3 things that I could have improved. I write it down on the computer on the lesson plan, 3 things that could be better or worse, forget all about it. Next time I come to that lesson plan, I've got that lesson plan with 3 things to make it better. So I am on a continual improvement cycle. I can't avoid it. Now, handling Carlos's question is this. That is part of being a reflective practitioner. You must walk away from your teaching and think, what could I have done better? What could I have done differently? What should I never do again? And that way, you are continually improving and continually offering your students a better deal. And guess what? As opposed to that man there, when he has to draw a lesson plan, he spends 2 hours having to do it. It takes me 25 minutes. So I would strongly suggest you do it.
So my question was related to making lesson plans.
Yeah.
Are we doing some exercise about it? Or are we addressing it somehow?
I'm not sure whether we'll get time to do it, but I'll write it down now, and when I'm planning, I'll see if there's a way of doing it. I'll have a look at well, who's got the programme? What I'll try and do, I do that session, I'll try and put it in there, lesson plan. But you've done a lot already. All right, okay, what are the 3 components of every lesson plan? So it's now just putting it together. Any questions? Any questions? This is absolutely key. Because if you don't think about what you did, and what worked and what didn't work, how can you improve? The only way you can improve and produce professional practice is to reflect on what you did and either do it again because it worked or change it because it didn't. If you just keep churning out the same lesson month in, month out, year in, year out, don't be surprised if perhaps your students' results reflect that. You have a phenomenal responsibility in your hands.
So you said,
what I wouldn't do again.
Good point.
So, okay, we're about to go now, and you should go because it's 10 minutes early, okay? Last 2 minutes. If you were me, what do you think I'm going to write down that went well from today? The group work, right? So that went well. If you were me, what would you do differently? Today. Pardon?
Explain better than the first.
Look at that. Explain the, confirm the instructions of the
making sure we understood the...
Brilliant, brilliant. So I would put on there, remember your task focus me. So I would put on there, group work, great. Task focus, remember me. What would you do if you were me? Is there anything this morning that you just wouldn't do? What didn't we do this morning that I planned to do? And I was right not to do it. And next time when I write this lesson, I won't even put it in. Absolutely. I had that sample task down to mark. Now, I'm not going to go home and think, I forgot to mark that sample task, or I should have made it compulsory. I'm going to go home and say, next time we'll leave the marking of the sample task till Monday, because there's more chance they'll do it at the weekend. So it's about, and I think that point this morning about it's all right to get things wrong is critical. Because it is. Any questions? Honestly, you've been absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much. So much.
I have a question.
Yeah. But then last one, because I want to go at 10
Did
minutes.
you prepare all of this? I mean, you plan everything like, okay, I know they are not gonna do the homework, so I'm gonna tell them that I'm gonna put it on Monday, and at the end I'm gonna tell them that it's something that I'm gonna do it again.
No, what I've learned from it is that that sample task needs to be put back into a lesson later, because lots of people didn't do it, but wanted to do it over the weekend. So next time I'll give it out now for Monday. It's just about improving. It's just about improving.
Experience teaching is important.
Well, it's about that, but it's also about being very realistic. I know that if from Jimmy downwards, if you put 15% of what I've taught you in the last 4 days into action, just 15%, in other words, in every hour, you only do something about 15 minutes of it, you will be much better teachers. So yeah. Okay, thank you very much indeed. Have a lovely weekend, and thanks again. But as for the rest of it, yeah, I'm glad. Look, I walk in here with 4 pages of that for every lesson. But that's because you deserve the best I can be. So thank you very much indeed. You've been absolute stars.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah?
Absolutely right.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can. 0990. Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Please take your drawings.
I will.
Take your drawings.
Okay.
Take your drawings, yeah. Take the drawings down. 0, when 0. I'm sorry. 0990 491 205. 205. Do you know what? Let's leave this here. Leave it. Me. Yeah, me. Apple yard. APPLEYARD. YARD. R-D. Apple yard.
A ver. Ah, ya tomó, ok, sí. Chévere, ahí me la paso.
Very, very well.
Esta es la misma.
I have sent and she said, nice to be there.
Okay.
Nice picture. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for your help. You too. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
See you on Monday.
See you on Monday. Thanks for everything.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Cheers, buddy. Hello. I think you probably caught the end of that, so have a great weekend and I'll see you Monday.
Okay, you too. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much for this week. Thank you.
For you too. You too, man.
Okay. And on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on direct channel D13, Everton are at home to Fulham.
Are they any good?
Are
they any good?
We're going through what's described as a transitional period. It's a nice way of saying at the moment we're a pile of shit.
So that's almost third, don't throw.
Ooh, yay.
See, Mick, in order to do significant changes in society
Yeah.
in English, would you ever consider doing some private teaching?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I would.
Because you see, I'm going through this process, and tomorrow I have an appointment with my dean about what I'm supposed to do next week. So I want to come. Okay. they're supposed to implement the aula virtual. And then there is a whole list of things I need to discuss. Otherwise, I could be more effective and have more results by having my little tutoring class in my home, charging and making same amount of money or more. And I can do other activities that are more fulfilling. I'm with Rotary.
Okay, okay. Well, all of that sounds really positive, and I have to say, it's the way I'd be thinking if I was in your shoes, and I have to say, I'd be really keen to know if you work with me in the future. I think you're in my ear, right?
Exactly, and that's why, it's a continuation of that whole conversation we had the other day, and this is the same thing. So, I'm responsible, before I leave the college, I'm trying to look for individuals who will be willing to go.
And thank you. Andres, muchísimas gracias.
Ciao. Ciao. Angle.
And probably when you are see you later, mates. Ciao. Ange. Lunes, ¿no? Sí. Thank you for the semana.
¿Quién es esto?
Eso es mío.
Tuyo.
Chao, chao.
¿Dónde? ¿Qué dice?
Nosotros somos la única persona que está conectada.
Ya lo pago, ¿sí o no?
Sí.
Aló, Jacinto. Ya terminó ya todo. Ya salieron. Ya, con el control. Sí, ya lo colgué, sí, ya. En la parte de atrás, ¿verdad? Ah, ya.